Warning. This episode of PodCRASH is intended for mature audiences only.
Particularly when women say they watch porn, it's the same percentage of guys who say they read romance novels.
I wanted to show you my porn collection.
Whatever the fetish that you're not into and your friends are into, you think you're fucking weird.
What if our penis is touched? Would there be sparks?
She took her top off, she let me suck her tits. She took her top off, she let me suck her tits. She took her top off, she let me suck her tits. She took her top off, she let me suck her tits.
I'm too lazy to do a podcast, so I appear on other people's podcasts. This is PodCRASH. This is at Chris Gore.
Welcome to the show. I am that Chris Gore. This is PodCRASH. This is the show where you get to hear me as a guest each week on a different podcast. You get to discover new shows. I get to talk about a variety of topics. This week, the topic is porn. We are talking about porn, and I appeared on a podcast called The Projection Booth, where we talked about a movie called Night Dreams, which is a classic. It was called the Citizen Kane of adult films back in, God, that movie came out in what? It was the 80s, in the 1980s. But before we get to Mike White on The Projection Booth, I have a special guest here with me today, Yoshi Obayashi, who's probably the world's greatest Korean comedian. Could you say that, Yoshi? Everybody calls you Yoshi.
Yeah, I don't think so. There's Bobby Lee. There's Margaret Cho.
Oh, that's true. Margaret Cho.
Yeah. I have Japanese names, so that's where the confusion starts. But I'm ethnically Korean.
The greatest male Korean comedian.
And 6'1" or taller.
Ladies. And then I'm also here with Anthony Bench, our intern from PodCRASH, who just happened to be here today working, and he's going to be chiming in with all sorts of insights, right?
Yeah, like the fact that Night Dreams came out in 1981.
It was 1980. I knew it was the 80s because I remember I worked at a video store when that came out. But Yoshi, let's get to know you because you are on my favorite podcast in the entire world. You are on DVD ASA, which stands for Double Vaginal, Double Anal, Sensitive Artist.
Correct.
Which is hosted by
David Cho and Asakura. So that's where DVD, which is David.
Right.
ASA for Asa. Yeah.
And David Cho.
Why is it your favorite? That's shocking.
It's my new favorite because
okay.
Here's why. Yeah, new because it's only been around like 6-7 episodes.
Yeah,
7 episodes, and it's I love the show because of its brutal honesty. I feel like for me to like a show, or even to like a comedian, or to like any type of artist in some way, I like a brutal, raw honesty. And on that show, you've talked about so many amazing things. You've been incredibly revealing. You used to work in the adult film world as an editor.
Yeah.
And then also you've done stand-up comedy for the last, over a decade, right? Yeah. And it's just, what you talk about on the show is amazing.
Do you think if we were white, it would have been that extreme to you?
No, I could care less if people were white.
No, what I'm saying is, I think...
No, are you saying because you are...
Most Asian people don't talk about it, so I think to most Asian Americans, it's even more shocking, because if they heard, like, Howard Stern talking about it, it's like, whatever. But I think with Asian American audience, I think they're really, like, shocked.
I don't know that...
we really don't give a shit about... Obviously, Asa is a porn star, so...
Right.
Anything outside of porn, she's pretty much made it difficult for her. But I think she's smart enough she could.
But I mean, look at, there have been so many adult film actresses that have crossed over from. See, now I just did a David show. I just interrupted you, and I feel terrible about that. I feel like we should bring out. We have a David Cho sock puppet that we made. We actually made because David Cho is, and a lot of people don't know David Cho. David Cho is an artist who, rather than take money. He's a graffiti artist. What's weird is that I actually owned these dolls that he made.
Okay.
These like wooden art dolls that he made. I didn't even know that were his. Yeah. They were given to me by.
I know exactly which one you're talking about.
Yeah, it's like a weird 2-headed. It looks really cool in this box, and he made that and it's up in my storage. Why am I not displaying it? But. I didn't realize who he was in terms of the world of art and like his, having spent time in jail in Japan. I learned about him from Howard Stern's show, and then from that learned he had a podcast, and from that discovered you.
Yeah.
So in a way, Howard Stern introduced us.
Yeah.
Indirectly, very indirectly. But bro, if Yoshi is my favorite. He's the number. Yoshi Didn't is his podcast, and if you listen to that podcast, no, wait, look, listen, no, first, okay, well, let me ask you a question, Yoshi. Let me ask you a question.
All right.
You almost spent time in jail in Japan. You almost did. Tell me, okay, now let me tell you about mine, like, when I was in Japan, and then this is a funny thing, because David will, like, he'll often ask questions.
Yeah, people have to listen to the show, then they'll get the humor.
Well, he asks a question, and then he answers his own question. I think he's a brilliant...
It's not even a rhetorical question. He probably did want to ask me those questions, but, like, whatever.
He wanted to chime in first, but look, I understand. It's almost like, I mean, I come from a family of people who talk a lot, and you have to almost fight to speak. You gotta, so, like, I'm perfectly comfortable being around someone who, wait, let me tell you. Okay, in my family, okay, it was so hard to masturbate it was so incredibly tough when I tried to masturbate when I was a kid, it was like, I would brush against something, and it would almost make my little sock puppet penis jizz, and I jizzed yarn. Yarn came out of my penis. It was... What is he doing? Now and David Cho sounds like Foghorn Leghorn. In any case, but let's talk about you. Let me tell you about me for a second. Let me tell you about me for a second, though. Wait. Let me tell you my story. So what I know about porn is, like, I like to watch porn, and, like, tranny porn is probably one of my favorites. Wait. Let me... All right. I'm sorry. I'm doing like David Cho while I'm... okay.
Anyone who listens to the show know exactly what you're talking about.
Yes, you know what I'm talking about with and this. You know what? This is going to be for sale probably on eBay to get $2. But like you started, like, you're doing stand up. You're also editing.
I was editing
at one of the great adult film companies, Evil Angel.
Yeah, there's no question about it. They're literally the New York Yankees of porn.
They are like the New York Yankees of porn.
And if you're a director, that is the number one place to go. Absolutely the number one. Because unlike other porn companies where they give you a budget for each movie, they allow you to own your movies. Mm-hmm. So the better movies you make, even when you take a little, I don't know what's the cut bit, I don't know, 20%, whatnot, but the rest of it you keep.
Right.
So you have an incentive to be creative and work hard in your movies. And
no, I like the companies that take risks and then also just have, attractive...
Reward people high reward if you do a good job.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, but and the thing is, I don't want to, like, for you to tell the longer versions of some of these stories, because I feel like people should discover who you are. Like, what I did is, once I became a fan of yours, what I did is I just looked...
I like what you do too.
Well, thank you. Look at this. We're a mutual adjunct. Wait, bro. No, but let me tell you about me. Okay, so I discovered Yoshi. Now, we met... I don't even know how you guys met. I don't know if you guys have talked about that.
Are you going to keep doing that?
I'm probably not going to keep doing this. Probably not going to keep doing the David Cho puppets.
This is going to be the first podcast I ended up punching the guy in the face.
Yeah, you could punch David Cho's sock puppet in the face. You could totally punch him. But the thing is, what I do now is, like, for example, Patton Oswalt does not do a podcast. I'm a fan of Patton Oswalt. He does not do a podcast. He is one of the few comedians out there now that does not do a podcast.
Now that's interesting to me because I don't know why.
Well, but here's what I do.
It just seems like he would be doing.
Well, you just started a podcast around the same time as DVD ASA called Yoshi Didn't.
Yeah.
Which at some point I'll be on your podcast.
Yes.
I will crash it. I would love to do it. But what I'll do is I'll just look up a comedian's name. Mm-hmm. So if I look up Patton Oswalt under podcasts, all of his guest appearances on other podcasts will come up.
Right.
And so it's like, and that's actually how I've discovered other podcasts. That's sort of was an inspiration for the show in a way, is like, and then like Paul F. Tompkins, I'm a huge fan of Paul F. Tompkins.
He's incredible.
Love Paul F. Tompkins just as a host, but all of his podcasts that he does they're more story like an improv, like the Pod F. Tomcast, which is like it's the weirdest show because it's like an improv show with one person.
Yeah.
It's brilliant. And then he does the Dead Authors podcast, which if Paul F. Tompkins is listening to this, if you ever do Frank Herbert, I would love to play Frank Herbert, the author of Dune Messiah, Heretics of Dune, God Emperor of Dune, Children of Dune, the entire Dune series. And my son wrote the sequel books. Some of them were prequels. If you ever, Paul F. Tompkins, would like Frank Herbert, I can tell you, Frank Herbert on the Dead Authors podcast, I can tell you everything you would like to know about sandworms, the worms of Arrakis. In any case, then
hold on. I heard a bit about Al Pacino in there.
Do you think so? Is that a little more Al Pacino if Al Pacino gains?
No, I like it.
That's a great. It's like the Paul F. Tompkins podcasts are more performance.
Yeah.
What I love is when Paul F. Tompkins is Paul F. Tompkins. Yeah. Like he's not Cake Boss. That's Cake Boss is a character that he plays on Doug Loves Movies. Doug Benson's movie podcast, which I have asked Doug to be on that podcast. Everyone who's listening to PodCRASH right now, please say something to Doug Benson. I need to be on his show because every time I listen to Doug Loves Movies, I win it. I win it every time. Although I think some of the movies that I'm referring to probably aren't in Leonard Maltin's book. But
I'll probably see him next week at South by Southwest.
Say hi to him for me. But I love Doug. But what the thing is I like Paul F. Tompkins when he's himself. And so I feel like also...
I prefer that too.
Oh, you do?
I just like anyone just...
When they can be themselves. Yeah. Like for me as a host...
talented, but I just want it could be just a casual conversation.
Like when he's on Todd Glass, I think I've heard Paul F. Tompkins many times on the Todd Glass show, and he's really good on that. This is if you're going to listen to this show, you're going to discover other podcasts, which is part of the thing. Like Yoshi Didn't, DVD ASA, which you should subscribe to. It's all these other shows, the Pod F. Tomcast, the Todd Glass show. See, I'm talking too much. I am talking too much. I am chowing out. I am totally chowing. But the thing is, I feel more comfortable being myself when I'm a guest on a show than when I am hosting. Like right now I'm hosting and I'm thinking I'm already talking too much.
Well, why is
Let's
that?
Get to know Yoshi.
Why is that? Because you feel like you're responsible for that?
I'm responsible for being a good host. When I'm a guest, what are you going to do? Fire me? You can't fire me. I'm the guest of the show. But Yoshi,
it's fun when you're a guest, though. I have to say,
it is fun. It's way more fun when you're a guest. Like it's like right now, not having fun at all.
Yeah.
Like this is not fun. I have notes.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. This is fun. This is really fun, just hanging out. Although I'm going to take these headphones off because I want to just have a normal conversation, not hear my voice or David Cho Sock Puppet. David Cho Sock Puppet is here to... All right, fine. We're done with David Cho Sock Puppet for the moment. But what I'm encouraging people to do is not just listen to your podcast, but if they like you or they like a particular comedian or a guest, they should look that person's name up.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people don't even know they can do that. Just look up a particular comedian or an actor's name and you can look them up and see what other podcasts they've appeared on.
Yeah.
And you've appeared on many. And you've told different stories on those shows.
Yeah. I think whoever's hosting the show... especially the good ones, they usually get to know that person well and figure out the strength of that person and bring a subject matter that is fun for both of them and, have a good narrative for both of us,
Right, like I feel like you were on Ari Shafir's podcast.
Yeah. And because
Ari, it was like a 2-part one, and it was like... And it was
pretty dark.
Pretty dark, talking about the adult...
Be very dark, too.
Talked about the adult film business. Yeah. And I feel like if you're interested... in what Yoshi has to say on this, you should look that 2-part
Ari
up. Ari Shafir's show. But on DVD ASA, you talked about the stories that you've told. I mean, first of all, look, some of them are serious, and then some of them are about your grandmother's vagina.
Yeah. Which is just a joke.
Well, I think that's a brilliant joke because it's so shocking. Like, this is what
I just don't. I'm sorry to interrupt.
Please interrupt. No, I want you to interrupt.
Sorry to pull Cho on you.
No, Cho me. You need to. Please interrupt me because I'm already talking too much. But this might be one of my longest podcasts ever because we're going to get to the projection booth. Projection booth. I wanted you specifically on this show because the plan was actually to have you and an adult film actress like I perform with Mika Tan, Justine Jolie, and Nikki Hunter, but trying to nail them down. Trying to nail them is hard enough. Yeah. Trying to nail them down to be on a podcast, I have not tried to nail. I'm being an idiot, joking about that. But Mika Tan was in our. I performed with them at iOS in an improv show. What I'm amazed about, what I'm shocked about, with all three of them, Nikki Hunter, Mika, and Justine, is what really good actresses they are.
Yeah.
What I'm surprised is that they are so good at improv. First of all three of them are big nerds. Secondly, they're all really good actresses. Like Mika blows me away. Justine has performed and done acting. Nikki Hunter, incredible. She has her own, Nikki's Geekgasm. She has her own YouTube channel. I tried to get the three of them together, so it would be like a couple of adults.
I hope she's doing okay. She was recently fired from her radio show.
Oh, really? Oh, wow. I don't know. I got to catch up with Nikki. I think she's been going through a few things. I don't want to speak out of turn with her, but yeah.
They had a live radio show and they fucked Mr. Marcus.
On the show?
On the show. It was her, and I would consider...
Are you sure they faked it? Because look, radio stuff...
They fired all three of them.
Was it Debbie Diamond too? Because I know she co-hosts. They fired her too?
Yeah, and I can't remember other one. Something Bangkok? I don't know. Maybe I got her name wrong, but it was a bit of a controversy because I don't know if you follow. Last summer, Mr. Marcus, my experience with him is very good. He's an African-American performer. Have a great reputation for a long time. But anyway, I think he had a syphilis, but he faked his health paper so he keep continuing to perform.
Right.
And I don't know, infected, I'm sure, several people or more. And when they caught him doing it, the backlashes, because that's like a big no-no in adult business. People trust you that, fucking with STD, HIV, or whatnot, So I just read it yesterday. He was on the live radio show, and evidently he was fucking one or two of them.
It was probably Debbie. She's pretty... I've been on that show a couple times, that Playboy show that Nikki hosts along with Debbie Diamond, and she... Yeah, they get wild. I mean, they got reprimanded because I brought in alcohol, just as a gift. Like I'm just bringing it as a gift.
I'm not gonna.
No, I'm saying, like one of the times I was on her show, which is on the Playboy channel on Sirius Satellite Radio, I showed up with some alcohol as a gift. Yeah. Like, here's a gift for you. I'm giving you this, and they were drinking it on the show. Well, they got in trouble for drinking on the show, and they were wild. Like they were flashing their boobs and doing stuff, but nothing you wouldn't see at the Playboy Mansion.
Well, I mean.
But so they had, are you sure they did? Because you could fake this stuff. Like right now, first of all, right now, Anthony, he's putting his hand on my knee right now.
Right.
Getting very fresh. And Anthony.
How could he resist? It's so delicious.
He's not doing it. He's not doing that. But the point is like in audio, since we're not seeing this right now, you could completely fake something like that.
Well, I was on her show. I'm not going to lie to you.
Right. So who knows if it actually happened, but she was...
She took her top off. She let me suck her tits.
I've done improv.
Christy Canyon too, and then
the Christy Canyon.
Yeah.
Oh,
wow. So
I used to have such a crush on her.
They were great tits. I was sucking on them, and Debbie even bent over and let me eat her ass out.
Well, you that's the one thing I know about you from listening to you on DVD SA. You like to eat out girls' buttholes like prostitutes' buttholes. Is that true?
Well, pussy too. Armpits.
Right. But aren't you concerned about diseases?
No.
Like, do you think...
I mean, of course, to some level, but like, Dave Cho got angry with me. Like, that's not healthy, even though he does all this other crazy unhealthy things. Right? It's like, it's just... Every guy, when you talk about porn, like, whatever the fetish that you're not into and your friends are into, you think you're fucking weird. That guy's weird. But you're weird, too. You're into something else, too, But as far as the health thing... I have checkup. I've never gotten anything so far, but
so you are clean.
Yeah, I don't understand it because by now I should have AIDS or something. Just to be fair, but one thing I will say about eating girls out or whatever, I will say this: it's the same thing. Like I don't understand why people climb Mount Everest. I don't get it. It's dangerous. I would never do it. It sounds crazy to me, but if that's what they enjoy doing, I'm not going to tell them not to do it. I don't think it's healthy. You could kill yourself. So.
Yeah. I don't understand extreme sports. Yeah. Like people that, do these weird extreme sports things. And then suddenly I heard a case recently where this kid who did the BMX, bike racing who, young kid broke his neck. He's paralyzed from the neck down. Yeah. Like those kind of things. Like, I just don't get that. Yeah. Like also I was never a sports guy. I was more of an indoor kid.
But I think
you're into sports
a little bit, but as far as risk, people do things that they feel comfortable with. It doesn't make any sense, Like, I went to Afghanistan 3 months ago for vacation. People think that's crazy.
Yes, why did you go there for vacation? Afghanistan.
I have friends that work there and that live there, and then I have many fears, but traveling is not one of them. Plus, I'm not a white person. If you're a white person in Afghanistan, you're gonna get your ass kidnapped most likely.
Yeah.
But me, I look like one of them. It wasn't. I walked around downtown Kabul. No problem. I didn't get kidnapped. And those are the kind of risks I'm very comfortable with. But going up the tall building, I have a fear of height. And it's irrational, but my head get dizzy. But going to Afghanistan, I didn't have one moment of a fear. So
no fear when your tongue is up a prostitute's butthole. So what? So because the thing is, I have never been with a prostitute.
Right.
I mean, just like never been. It's a weird disconnect, and I think this just has to do with the fact that I'm OCD, ADD. I'm very anal retentive, perfectionist. You know, like I'm putting down coasters before we're like about to do this podcast. Yet I'm not using a coaster. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna use David Cho's sock puppet as a coaster.
Yeah, use his stupid.
I'm gonna use his David Cho sock puppet as a coaster.
North Korean face, right?
Yeah, exactly. But then I'm also I'm total perfect. But like, I have to be attracted to some woman in terms of like a mental connection before I can have. Like, I've had so many instances where I've been at strip clubs where I'm the guy.
You're telling me you have to know the girl?
I feel like in order to get aroused. Meaning, I have to be attracted to them on a mental level. Like, I have
My
to
problem
connect.
is if I get to know them, I'm
You're not attracted to
them. Yeah, the less I know.
Oh, so you're like, so that's a thing. It's like, there you go. Well, that's
It's like watching
total
porn.
opposite.
Like, I know a lot of porn girls. As soon as I get to know them, the fan is dead.
Well, that's true for me too. Like, I feel like I can't watch Mika Tan, and now I feel like actually watching, because I will look up Asian porn. I will look up Asian porn. I'm honest. My current girlfriend is Asian. Why do I say current girlfriend? She's been, because we've broken up. We've gotten back together. We've broken up, got back together. We're together, and she's Asian.
But once she get her green card, adios.
No.
Sayonara.
No. But what I'm saying is that like so I have looked up. Yes, I've looked up Asian porn. But as soon as I like got to know Mika Tan, it's like I can't watch her.
It's interesting.
And the thing is, you look up Asian porn. There's like the top stars are Mika Tan and Asakura. Now that I've gotten
in America.
In America, though, right?
Most Japanese guy will not find those attractive
because they're not. Because then I look at the hardcore Japanese porn that is from Japan, and what is hairy? Hairy is a thing. Hairy Japanese.
Hairy Japanese pussy?
Yes.
Yeah. I don't like hair. That's just me.
I like well groomed. I like to know you're a woman, but then let me, give me some room to work.
Yeah. I really don't know because I don't like it. I don't even like when a girl have a hair on her arm and stuff. It just freaks me out.
And I was with a girl once. I think she was Armenian, and she had a hairy.
Hi, Lilith, co-host.
We weren't talking about her.
Yeah,
she had hair. She had hair on her, like it was like up her, like right on the small of her back.
Yeah,
it was dark hair.
Fucking Chewbacca.
Yeah, it was. It was like, which I think is a fetish, like if you were into furries. But like I wasn't.
I remember I was in Phoenix visiting my friend, and we were doing a show at Stand Up Live in Phoenix. And I went to this gas station, and this girl had a facial hair, and like it was really thick. It almost like she was Latina, but she had a hair. She almost looked like Hitler in a way.
She had like hair coming down her nose?
No, she literally had on her right here.
Her upper lip.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And I literally screamed and ran out of there. Because I don't know what it is, like body hair, it just freaks me out. But on women, it just really makes me really uncomfortable, But you can't stop but stare when you see a lady with hair.
Oh, my girlfriend is perfect. She is softer.
Asian people usually don't have hair like
she's that. Softer than cashmere. Yeah. She's softer than the clothes she wears. She's perfect. So I feel very lucky in that.
But yeah, some people are into women with facial hair, but I am not one of them. That just really freaks me out.
You know what? There are some weird fetishes, like when you look at like porn, which speaking of that, I was on this podcast. Okay. Which we're going to get to, the Projection Booth, which the Projection Booth is this podcast that's like hosted by Mike White. And Mike White is from Michigan. And Mike and I have kind of a history in the sense that like Mike did a magazine called Cashier du Cinemart and I did a magazine called Film Threat. Cashier du Cinemart came out kind of...
You guys are competitors back then?
I didn't consider ourselves competitors. But Mike was like one of these guys that like, he was hardcore. Like he was the guy who edited this video. It's a very famous video that's on YouTube where he discovered that Reservoir Dogs was Reservoir Dogs is a ripoff of a movie called City on Fire directed by Ringo Lam. So Ringo Lam made this movie called...
It's like a Hong Kong movie, wasn't it?
Hong Kong movie where like basically the last 30 minutes of City on Fire is all of Reservoir Dogs. He basically used that as a template, and Quentin's mentioned like, oh, it was an influence for me, but Mike White actually edited this video together where he showed like directly, he even edited another video with references all the exploitation movies for Pulp Fiction. So it's like he'd show something from Pulp Fiction on the other screen would be something from an exploitation movie. I mean, but the thing is, it's like, I feel like Quentin, I think, is incredibly creative from the standpoint of, it's sort of the blender. It's like he'll take an idea, it may have been used in a way somewhere else, but he puts it together in a way that's so original that
How does he rank in your opinion? Because I'm a
Quentin,
huge fan of
one of the greatest filmmakers of our time period. Because, and the thing is, even though he does reference and use this older thing, what he'll do is he'll take something exploitation and elevate it in the same way that like filmmakers like Lucas and Spielberg took shitty B movies from the 50s and 60s,
made a masterpieces after that,
and made them like, you know what, we're gonna take like the world of B movies like aliens and monsters and invaders and flying saucers, and we're going to elevate it into, we're going to take it dead seriously, and we're going to cast like British actors, and we're going to give it some gravitas, and we're going to make this thing called Star. I mean, previous to Star Wars, most genre stuff was crap. I mean, it was, you know, there was few and far between ones that took it seriously. 2001 was amazing. That was an exception. I think the original Planet of the Apes, the first one, took itself very seriously, and then just
I just don't like
Soylent Green, maybe Omega Man. Charlton Heston movies. So Quentin does that. He'll take something exploitation and change it in a way that makes it bigger and better than what it was. Like, you know, reinvigorating Pam Grier, you know, her career. Just so many things that Quentin has done. Like I love the guy. I love the guy.
I just hate it when people say, like, "Oh, he just take other people's idea and make a movie." Well, there's so many other people try to do it, and they're shit.
And the thing is this: you could look at everybody, like George Lucas. I mean, Darth Vader is Doctor Doom. Doctor Doom was a character, you know, from the Fantastic Four comics from 1961. And Doctor.
Isn't it funny? I didn't even make the connection until you just said that.
It's absolutely. He has a cape.
Yeah.
He's encased in metal. You know, he is a man in metal who's been disfigured.
There's both black guys inside of.
They're both black guys inside there. No, but you know, look, everybody will take. I feel like you have to take it further. You have to further the genre. Anyways, Mike White.
I think he's a great entertainer, but go ahead.
But Mike White edited these videos and pointed this out. So I was on this podcast with Mike White, Mondo Justin, Josh Hadley, and we talked about this movie Night Dreams, which is Night Dreams. When I worked at a video store, I worked at this video store called Thomas Video in Michigan. It was in Royal Oak, like just outside of Detroit. And I lied about my age to work there. So I was 16 years old, and they came in and I said, "Oh yeah, I'm 18." I lied because they had porn there.
Yeah.
So, but when I was 16, I worked there from the time I was 16 to 18, and then went to college. They finally found out how old I was, but things were not strict. That could never happen today.
Yeah.
You can't work somewhere that carries porn and be underage.
I kind of tried to do what you did, because I went to Torrance High, and I lived in Torrance, and there was a Pussycat Theater where Tarantino actually worked.
Whoa.
And I tried to sneak in multiple times, but I got caught, you know. These kids are so lucky. Yes.
They're so lucky today that, like, within 2 clicks, you can see DVD DA.
Yeah.
And you can listen to DVD ASA. But so Night Dreams was one of these movies, and it was like the cinematography was amazing. So we talk about it on this podcast.
I don't remember.
You would remember. But it's so we talked about it on this podcast. So that's why I wanted to have this podcast. My vision for this was we're going to have adult film stars talking about being in the adult industry. But I've got intern Anthony, who's actually working on our YouTube channel while we're talking.
Great guy, works hard for you.
Yoshi Obayashi, which to me, Yoshi is now my, yes, he does work, you do work your ass off for me. He films all of our live shows. Anthony does all the things that it's not a very glamorous internship, is it? All right. But just also hearing you talk about adult, I like when someone can speak intelligently about the adult industry. And I thought, what better way to do the wraparounds for Projection Booth than you being on this show.
Okay.
And the David Cho sock puppet.
Right.
But I wanted to, before we get into that, I wanted to show you my porn collection.
Okay.
So I am showing you, this is something that I will only, and the thing is this, I really feel like there is a holy trinity for a girl, for women, right? A woman that I would want to be in a relationship with must have, if possible, 3 things. They must have at least 2 of the 3.
Okay.
They have to be geeky.
White?
No. What's weird is I'm not so much into white girls as much as
I don't get this white guys with Asian girls. I don't get it.
White guys with Asian girls?
Yeah.
You don't get it. I don't know.
I'm not saying it's wrong.
I guess the thing is I've always been attracted to Asian women, and this is going to sound really horrible, but like
you're not Jewish, right?
I'm not Jewish.
Wow,
no, I'm Russian, Irish, German, and English.
Okay.
I'm like Europe had an orgy.
Yeah.
That's my background. But I guess I've always been attracted to Asian women. This is going to sound stupid, but like from
But I don't understand. You grew up in Detroit? Was there a lot of Asian
I grew up in
people?
Detroit, but listen, no, there wasn't a lot of Asian people. I think there was maybe one Asian girl in my entire high school class.
People up.
They do?
Vincent Chen was murdered, remember, in the early 80s?
Oh my God, that's right. Oh my God. Well, Detroit doesn't have a good reputation for race.
Well, I like
anyways.
Detroit.
My girlfriend, when I was in college, was black. And for 2 years we
sorry?
went out. And what's that?
Are you sorry?
No.
Kidding.
No,
Kidding.
the people that would harass us the most were black men. Would come up to us,
interesting.
but they would come up to her and they would say, "What are you doing with him?
Yeah.
What are you doing with that guy?" And I'd be like, I'm not going to say,
maybe they're in love?
I'm not going to say I like black girls because she was the only black girl I was with.
Yeah.
But because I know Bill Maher. Bill Maher's he's into black women. Famously. But I don't like I liked her. She was nerdy. We used to read Batman comics together. We were I don't know. She was
sound like a black then, is it? The comic book, is it?
Well, no, she was and the thing is that she only exclusively went out with white guys. So, but we would get a lot of the most racism we experienced.
Have a good credit.
Yeah. Oh my God, you really are. Well, the thing is, I grew up watching a lot of this is gonna sound weird, Godzilla movies.
Yeah.
I quit the Cub Scouts because there was Godzilla Week was in Detroit. They would have Godzilla Week at the movies, and I'd be like, I quit. I said, you know what? I'm choosing Godzilla over Cub Scouts. I don't need to make this little derby. Homophobic car. Group. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, then I don't know. Then it didn't have that reputation. Now it does. But it was that. To me, one of my favorite. Do you remember Monster Zero? Mm-hmm. And Nick Adams was in that movie, and he had this girlfriend from Planet X. She wore this punk rock outfit that was made of vinyl. It's black and white vinyl. I'm obsessed with that movie. That's one of my things. If I ever cosplay, I would love to dress as one of the characters from Planet X. Because they had these punk rock glasses. Do you remember? And they had one antenna on the top of their head. You got to bring this stuff up. Monster Zero, the aliens from Monster Zero. They had this antenna on the top of their head, this black leather thing, and they were Monster 01, Monster 02. And I love that movie. And the girl in that was so sexy. And she was Nick Adams' girlfriend. Who was Nick Adams was an astronaut in that movie. And I remember being oh, she was so hot. And then I used to watch also Ultraman.
Oh yeah, that I love.
Johnny Sacco and his giant robot. So, this is funny. I have an Ultraman slot machine right there from Japan. I'm pointing at it right here.
Right,
seriously.
Oh wow. Yeah, it is.
I'll fire it up. You love Ultraman. The whole thing of the self-sacrifice, the alien from another planet comes there and accidentally kills a human and feels so guilty. He trades his soul so they share a soul.
I feel
there's something really heartful about that.
I feel older I get, I like Ultraman more and I can relate to them because they're only good fighting for 3 minutes. Yeah. And I can only fuck. Yes. I can only fuck for 3 minutes. You know what
I have the opposite problem. I have the opposite problem where...
Sorry, can you concentrate this? I'm just assuming.
I have an opposite problem, which I wish if Lily was here...
It's my second language, so I don't know what I'm talking about.
But if Lily was here, she could analyze me, which I was hoping we'd be able to have her involved to... I could get some free therapy. If I'm on Yoshi Didn't, perhaps she can analyze this. I have trouble releasing with girl. When I'm with a girl, I like to date for a while. We get to know each other. We start having sex, but it takes me so long to.
That's a good problem.
Release with them. Well, technically it's a good problem, but I looked up and it's also a problem it's a symptom of heart disease and or. You
masturbate too much?
Well, yes, but yes.
By the way, there's no such thing as masturbating too much.
But I also, it's an intimacy issue.
Yeah.
It's an intimacy issue where I'm having fears completely releasing.
On her face.
Yes. Anyway, I feel like I can do it later without her.
Yeah.
But with her, it takes a long time. But with my girlfriend, I have no problem.
Yeah.
But it actually took almost a year where I could do that with her. So it'd be going.
Did she complain?
Well, she didn't. She only complained because she felt like she wasn't making me happy.
I see.
So, like, I felt bad in that regard. Like, she wasn't making me She felt bad about that. And it's like, no, it's not you. It's definitely me. And but like, once...
That's where you and I are very different. I always blame the girl. Just, oh, you bitch.
Oh, I blame myself for everything.
Yeah.
I think that's an OCD thing. I think it's a Virgo thing, actually. One of these days I want to do an astrology podcast because there's too many things that I think are, like, actually... Like, there's too many things that are, like, you know, I'm much more a science guy than a spiritual guy, but there's too many things scientifically where, like, well, why are there so many aspects of personality that are so the same of certain signs? We're really derailing because this needs to be about you. Mm-hmm. This needs to be about the Projection Booth podcast and Mike White. This needs to be about my porn collection, which I'm going to show you. So this is going to be this is going to be the longest episode of PodCRASH ever, so strap in for this. And I brought another beer out for you. We can get one from the fridge. We can take a break. But this is my porn collection. I'm showing it to Yoshi. The only person, I was going to say the holy trinity is three things. I like when I'm with a girl, I know it'll be a potential for long-term relationship if they like geeky things. Yeah. So number one, geeky things. Geeky things can be Star Wars, Star Trek, geeky things, going to conventions, cosplay, whatever. I need a girl that's into geek, sports, and porn.
Okay.
It's the holy trinity. If you can find a girl that's geeky, sports, porn, that is everything you could possibly want in a woman. Now, normally you only ever get two. Yeah. But if I had a choice, I would go geeky and porn. Sports, I like. I'm more of a fan of sports, like, in the sense that, like, I love to go to sporting events.
Like sports-themed porn?
No. Okay. Let's go to sporting events. Yeah. Like to go to sporting events and watch, like, a spectator, not playing sports. But also the sports thing is not as important to me because I don't look on sports as the same way as other people. Like, I think that, I think football is
If you did like sports-themed porn, I think the greatest one is got to be Debbie Does Dallas.
Debbie Does Dallas is great. That's a classic.
I mean, that one, it's still great to watch. It's very...
Oh, Mr. Greenfield. No, like, that one I love it. So, like, there's so many shameful... I feel like shameful moments is where porn really... is. That's the... In terms of fetishes, because you were telling me about fetishes I didn't even know about. Yeah. Prolapse porn. Yeah. What is prolapse porn? I've never heard of this. I thought I knew about everything. So the thing is this... Before you talk about prolapse porn, this is so ADD. My audience is going to hate me now. Please don't hate me. This is just going to be a longer show.
That's all that matters.
Okay. So I need to have a woman that understands. Like, to me, one of the hottest things is be able to share an interest in adult. Because guys are going to watch porn. All women listening to this podcast, your boyfriend and or girlfriend and or husband and or significant other, they all watch porn. Men watch porn. I'm sorry. They watch porn. Every single one. And if they don't, they're lying about it. Same thing with mass. So the thing is...
Basically, when women say they watch porn, it's the same percentage of guys who say they read romance novels.
Yes. No guy reads romance novels.
Yeah, it's a very small percentage.
It's a small percentage, but if I know that I can share that with them, it's like I want to share my nerdy life with them. I want to share my sexual life. I want to share my interest in going to concerts and events like football games or whatever. Like I have a lot of interests. So porn is one of them, and if I can share that with a girl, like we can sit there together and actually watch it together, then it's like, oh, cool. And it's like, I'm very much, I feel like when it comes to anything adult, you have to lay on no judgment. Yeah. Right? Like, no.
But have you ever done a thing where you're watching with a girl and like halfway you realize she's really hating it, like it's really uncomfortable? Because she knows you're into that and she hates it. What do you do?
That's happened. Well, you get a divorce. But I think that
I was going to say punch in the face.
No,
all right, that's good.
No. Like, now I feel like I pre-screen girls. Yeah. Like, I have like a whole... I'll talk about this on your podcast. I'll tell... Because when I was talking to you and Lalit, it was like... I have like this first date speech I would screen girls. I'll talk about that on Yoshi Didn't. Okay. I've talked about that on PodCRASH before. But the thing is I feel like if I can share that aspect, then it's like, oh, like our sexual lives are more open because we can watch adult content together and you can tell me, well, what turns you on? Right. And the thing is what turns you on can be something you never have an intention of doing. Yeah. Like eating a prostitute's butthole. Yeah. I don't think I'll ever do that. But like, if that, like maybe that's a fantasy of mine. Yeah. Right? Or like you guys were talking about DPs.
Yeah.
Like I think DP porn is really fascinating visually. How that would be in real life, I don't know. Like, could you and I DP a prostitute? I don't know. Like, if that's happening,
if you have the money, sure.
If we had the money,
Yes.
okay, DPing a prostitute. Like,
By the way, if you know what that is, double penetration.
double penetration, which, yeah, it's not. But see, I feel like double vaginal or double anal, you're right up against the guy's dick. I heard you talking about that on DVSA.
I would never do that.
You said it's kind of gay. You say it's kind of gay.
No, I don't like it because what do you call it when you're trying to jumpstart your car? You have the what do you call
Jumper
it?
cables.
Yeah, those things are not supposed to touch each other because it's going to
Sparks.
spark. Yeah, you don't do that.
What if our penises touched? Would there be sparks?
I don't know, but I wouldn't like.
No,
but-
bro, let me tell you. Okay,
No,
my
don't
penis,
do that,
my penis
Chris.
touched when I was in jail. When I was in jail once. Okay, bro. Now let me answer this question. Listen. Okay, no, Bobby, I'm gonna smell your earlobe. I'm gonna smell your earlobe later. You should just get a photograph of this. But
This reminds me Mel Gibson's movie.
does it
Beaver?
Oh, really? The Beaver? This is.
He talked
Oh God,
through it,
that movie was terrible. That movie was terrible.
Actually, kinda enjoyed it.
But the David Cho sock puppet is gonna be. That'll be. Anyways.
But that'll be. But this
So that you were talking about
this is
how-
very useful if you're a pedophile.
Right.
Very.
Right.
Very.
That's something that like now, like as I'm older, I feel like I can't watch teen porn anymore. I just can't watch it. I'm not attracted to those. I like the MILF porn. I like more fetishy, like girls dressed in and as dumb as it sounds, I like ones where it's like, this is so funny. We could sit here and talk about directors. I like Andrew Blake.
I love Andrew Blake.
Andrew Blake, he shoots a lot of his stuff in 16 millimeter. And it's beautiful. It's like
He picked the prettiest women in the business.
it's weird. Like,
Yeah.
it's almost like he could shoot a DP and he's a great DP.
Yeah.
He's a great DP.
Okay.
Director of photography.
Yeah.
He's amazing. Like I will look, it's like, this is what a nerd I am, a porn nerd. I'll look at who
He used to
directed
use
it.
your friend, Justine Jolie.
Oh, right. Yeah. No, Justine is so great.
Beautiful
She's
girl.
oh my God,
Beautiful
So,
woman.
so I want to show you my porn collection
Yeah.
because you said that that a porn collection says a lot about a person. So now I've got 2 binders filled with
Right.
porn. Now you have to know I have been collecting porn on DVD. I don't have very many Blu-rays. I think I have one 3D Blu-ray. Actually, Nikki Hunter's in it, which is the Avatar. This isn't Avatar porn, but here is some of my. This has not been sleeved yet, and you should say what the titles are.
Let's see. The Justice League of Porn Star Heroes.
it's like Superman, Wonder Woman, Green Lantern. I don't know what their names are.
I have to say, porn business hasn't been in trouble for a long time because of the DVD sale has dropped.
Right.
But people who are a fan of comic book and
Nerdy stuff,
you guys are saving the business.
me? You say me?
No, seriously, because for 2 reasons. You guys are such a great fans. Let's say you're into Batman. Who isn't? Batman.
Right. Love Batman. I have the Batman porns.
You have Batman porn. These fans are so good. What they usually do, my understanding, they'll buy 2 copies of the same movie.
Oh my God! It's like one to bag and one to buy.
One they will keep in the mint condition,
Right.
another one to watch. So you guys are literally saving the business because we've been in a. I don't know why we say we because I got fired a year ago, but you guys are saving porn business because it's been really tough for them, and I worry for my friends.
On behalf of all the nerds out there, I accept your crowning my nerdy pornness as savior. All right, let me read off some of these titles.
Yeah,
We have Supergirl XXX, Reservoir Dogs spelled with 2 G's. These are both porn parodies. One called Tokyo Hush Hush Fuckies number 3, which there's a bunch of kanji on this.
Yeah.
This is a weird one. Pony Sauce. It's like a
What is that? Is that
May the
animation?
farce be with you. It's a weird, I like anything that's weird.
Okay.
Like, look, there's a guy dressed in a unicorn outfit having sex. Look, seriously, unicorn outfit, and he's boning a chick. Oh, this isn't actually porn. It's Dance a Go-Go Sexy Nightclub Workout. I don't know why I have that one. I like the hentai.
Yeah.
So here are some. Bible Black Origins. That's another one. Cool Devices. These are animated ones.
Right.
This is the 10th anniversary edition digitally remastered Cool Devices. So, hello. Now we have the binders of adult content. So this is one of the binders.
First of all, this tell me that,
What does that tell you?
First of all, it tells me you're a healthy guy, but you're not in like a real dark creepy guy. You're like a more fun, healthy attitude about sex, you know?
Oh,
because
thank you.
this none of these indicate like you're a creepy weirdo at all.
You know what? Just wait. So here's a binder
Right.
of some more stuff. Oh, look, some of this stuff isn't even in the, but you can look at that. And then here's the other binder. I probably have, now I've been collecting this stuff since probably the late 90s. So this is just like, and the worst thing is like, I would resell this stuff. Oh, look, see, there you go. You should be reading off some of these titles. You know what? While you're doing that, and you're going to read off the titles, I'm going to go get us another cold beer, because you're running out, right? You're out. I'll be right. But you're going to like, but notice that a lot of them are from it's a company called Private.
I recognize some of the stuff that I worked on. Good for you.
See, I've got very good taste. And this is a director that I just discovered. He's like a Spanish director, and these Blu-rays, these are not porn.
Yeah.
And I thought this said kick the cook. It's kick the cock. And then some of these are like,
nice.
and there's not penetration. It's not porn. It's like these racy. There's Batman XXX with James Dean, of course, which totally traumatized me. Here's the weird thing.
James Dean's like the Sasha Grey of male talent. He's the
He is, in
biggest
a way.
act right now.
He is, but it's weird because like the Batman XXX I got like as a collector, and then I watched it and it totally disturbed me, because watching a guy dressed exactly like Adam West getting blown by a chick dressed like Catwoman totally scarred me, because I'm like, it's something I don't want to see, but then as a collector I can't get rid of it. So here it is. I have this extensive adult film collection, and I'm, the thing is, I would sell a lot of this stuff. Frankly, I would sell a lot of this stuff because now you can get so much stuff online.
Yeah.
But it's worthless. It's literally, you could go into a DVD store and they'll give you 25 cents for these.
Like, for example, you have one of the mega porn company from Europe, Private, which was started by Bill Milton.
Well, what I like about their stuff is it's the
beautiful
quality.
Yes, absolutely.
Like, it's really well shot. So the thing is, I frankly, like, I'm not a Vivid guy. Like, I'm not into Vivid as much. I know Vivid is the big company. I do have some Vivid titles, but I feel like there's a sameness about it. Mm-hmm. And what's weird is the American girls I'm not as attracted to them. I like the more European looking women or your Asian brethren. What's the girlhood, sisterhood?
Yeah.
What? This is the podcast where everyone is unsubscribing on iTunes. If anyone is still listening to this podcast now, as I talk about my obsession, I feel like I have a healthy obsession with porn, meaning I'm open about it.
Yeah.
I don't want to hide it, because I feel like if you're hiding your porn, interest from a woman, that is not a good thing.
I don't think it's a good thing. And
if you can share it, that's why I feel like it's important for me to be able to share it, because then I'm not keeping something secret from them. I'm not like, oh, finally she's out for the night. Yeah. I can look at my porn in secret because I know she disapproves of it. If she's accepting of it and participates, I think that makes for a healthier relationship. Because it's not something I'm trying to keep hidden.
Instead of having shitty attitude of judging the guy, it's like reading someone's credit report, because when you look at somebody's porn collection, it tells a lot about that person.
Look at the big binder.
Yeah.
Let's look at the big binder and read some of these titles off, please. I'm going to go get us more cold drinks while you're reading the titles off. So you're hosting the show, Yoshi. Okay. I'm giving you the David Cho sock puppet right now. I'm giving you the David Cho sock puppet at this moment. You are in control of PodCRASH. Right. You are in control. So you should be reading these titles off.
For example, you're doing Euro Angel Horrible 10, which I worked for Evil Angel.
You worked on that one?
Yeah, for Christoph Clark.
Back. Anthony, someone take the command seat.
Christoph Clark. I did that DVD. And you also have John Leslie. Unfortunately, he passed away 2 years ago. For Evil Angel. You have one of his classic, Cracker Jack 2.
Cracker Jack?
Yeah, and it's by John Leslie, somebody I really love and respected, and it's a beautiful. His movies, I have to say, he was so old. When you watch his movies, I like them a lot, but it's kind of like watching basketball from '60s. Mm-hmm. They play really well back then, but they can't compete with the players like LeBron. You know what I mean? Like the way he filmed things, it was great for that time being. But I think that was one of the problems, like last 3 or 4 years of his career in the business. He died in a heart attack like 2 years ago. That people's taste changed, so
things got more like
extreme, he got a lot more rough and edgy, and
he had more of like a, I guess, idealized mentality.
Yeah, he actually liked women. Mm-hmm. He was really nice to them, you know. I liked John Leslie movies, and you know, so that was another title. He has a bunch of movies from Private, which is one of the oldest, most successful company in Europe, and like Private Double Penetration, Pirate, which is a sister company of Private, which is
I hear everything you guys are saying.
Kinky Six, Berlin.
I'm still listening to the show. I'm just getting drinks out of the fridge, and I'm also going to take a quick leak break, but I don't want to pause the show.
Yeah.
So I'm still listening, but you guys are in control.
So you have Bill O'Donnell's movie, which is one of the biggest stars in business for Evil Angel, Discovering Alexis, Texas. That movie I worked on. She's, I think, half Puerto Rican and I don't know, half white, but
Alexis, Texas is?
Yeah. I think at least she's calling herself Puerto Rican because her ass looked like Puerto Rican.
That's true.
She's very fair skinned, beautiful white girl, but she's got the perfect body. From waist up, it's MTV. From waist down, it's BET. So that's a really good combo. A perfect girl from best of the two worlds. But he's got Soviet Saint from Private. So a lot of it, his stuff is Europeans. And none of it's creepy. It's high quality.
So far, nothing shocking.
No, it's a beautiful. Unlike all this European stuff is very expensive, private pirate, and they're beautiful girls, and they spend a lot of money making private and pirate movies. Like Europeans, it's not like personality driven porn, and it's interesting you say because most consumer in America. They rather have American girls as maybe not as beautiful as Eastern European girls because those girls are unbelievable. Like they're high fashion, Sports Illustrated, swimsuit issue looking girls. But some people unfairly say they don't have personality. I think it's because they're not comfortable with English. I met a lot of them. They do have personality, but they're beautiful.
Well, like there's certain ones that I like the Private, like Michelle Wilde, and there's like certain directors like Tanya Hyde. Yeah, Tanya Hyde, I think, is an amazing director, female director. I almost think that some of the female directors that do fetish stuff, have like there's some classic ones, and there's a lot of stuff I got for free.
Yes.
So this is like what you're getting to now is the stuff that a lot of the stuff I got for free. Oh, Michael Nin, which I have no idea who Michael Nin.
One of the 30 greatest film of all time.
So you're saying what you're saying is. I have very good taste in porn. Look, there's Cool Devices, the Volume 2.
Yeah, so you have animated stuff because you like that kind of movie.
Well,
I'm not into it, even though I'm from Japan. I'm just not
into it. Well, I'm not into it from a, it's not something that I jerk off to. It's just not something, I'm not going to keep that in my regular collection.
Yeah.
There's one in here that I thought that have you ever heard of, well, keep going. There's Fetishes, which is a documentary by, no, wait, there's one in here I wanted you to notice. Well, there's Legend of the Overfiend, which you probably know about that. Wait, where'd it go? The Image, which is a classic from Synapse Films on DVD.
Yeah,
Tokyo Decadence. Have you seen?
I've seen it.
Tokyo Decadence
was fun to watch.
Hardcore for its time. Now, it's not a porn movie.
It's NC-17.
Right, but I put like all the stuff that is adult related. Yeah. Even though some of the stuff isn't porn, I just put this in the binder to keep it out of my normal collection, so to speak.
Oh, man. So now you have something interesting to me. Gregory Dark, New Wave Hookers.
Right.
His first New Wave hooker had Tracy Lord. She was underage. So what they did was they have to take that scene out, brought Ginger Lynn, who replaced it.
And the only other one they did was Tracy I Love You. The thing is
that's the only legal one.
Right. I got to know Tracy Lords later. She was on a cover of Film Threat magazine.
I always want to meet her.
Yeah, no, well, I could introduce the two of you. We could have, you know what? We should just completely redo this. All right, we're going to delete this file. Remember this, Anthony. We're going to delete this. Everything we've talked about, it's going away. We'll get Tracy Lords here, and then me, Tracy Lords.
Remember that movie she did, Not of This World or something like that?
Yeah.
I skipped my 5th period biology class from Torrance High. I walked all the way across to Del Momo where Tarantino made Jackie Brown at that place. I went to see that movie, and I think I was I was barely 17. And that was the first time I jerked off in a regular movie theater watching that movie. Because she was so hot. Like, these kids are so lucky. They could look at internet and masturbate. old school pervert like myself, we didn't have that option.
Well, that's the thing is like you kids have no idea like how easy it is these days. In 2 clicks,
it's too easy.
They can be looking at anything adult, and it doesn't matter. Like it's.
But I don't think they have appreciation much as we did.
Oh God, you had to work so hard. It was like first of all you had to like find the thing, then you had to like hide it, then you had to find the window of opportunity when there was no one around to be able to masturbate. I remember like as a kid just like having that like I was so lucky that I had my own room, and my own room was on a separate floor. It was like basically I lived in it was sort of an attic converted into a bedroom. Right? In a way, like, not in a bad way, like in a good way. Like, it was like, well, that's a spare bedroom. It was like a small, weird angled. So I had my own room, but it was on a separate floor. So I was so lucky that I had that growing up. I wasn't like David Cho, who had like, you know, his brother where he could like barely find a minute to jerk off where he wasn't like...
Which he talked about in DVD.
He talked about on DVD. I don't want to like, I'm not like, you know, I don't want to repeat stories that were on your podcast. I want to encourage my listeners to discover DVD ASA because it's in the health category.
Right.
Which so you're saying that like I have a fairly impressive like fashionistas
which was probably one of the greatest porn movie made by my former boss John Stalion, aka Buttman.
But when you were talking about him, it was crazy on Ari's podcast.
Yeah, I don't want to get detailed because I think they should just go and listen to it. But
yeah, no, that's what I'm saying.
There's a lot
like,
of questionable happen.
I want you to tell news stories. Mm-hmm. A news story needs to be told.
But whatever difference I might have with that company, but John is one of the greatest pornographers of all time. He loves it. Unlike these scumbag porn company owners, they're mostly in it for money.
Right.
And women,
I've met some of those guys.
But he really loves porn. Really? He loves porn. He studied porn like Bill Belichick for New England Patriots film. I'm not even kidding. He'll watch other people's stuff too. And he does definitely have encyclopedic knowledge about porn. Him, like old school pervert like him, Joyce Rivera, guys like that. But when I ask those guys, who is the kinkiest, the most perverted guy of all, it's Jamie Gillis.
Really?
Yeah, and he was in that Sylvester Stallone movie, Nighthawk.
Oh man, wow.
He was in that movie.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he will eat, like, you know, people make fun of him like liking women's ass and pussy and things like that. He literally will, like, he will fuck a girl in the scene. She'll walk out of there because she needs to take a shit or something. And Jamie will say every time, don't wipe your asshole. Because he'll just eat, he'll eat shit, literally. He's that of a pervert. His pervert IQ is just off the chart.
Wow. But I feel like it's the things that get you off, I think, are like maybe things that you grew up with, like in terms of like what turns you on. They said that, I've heard this study that, there was a study that like if you were spanked as a kid, you like being spanked as an adult.
I guess fisting count.
If you were
was that a spanking or karate lesson? I don't know.
If you were fisted as a kid, do you enjoy fisting as an adult?
But can I tell you something?
Yes.
I noticed that you have a very high aesthetic taste for women. Like a lot of these women are incredibly beautiful.
Well, look at this. This is the Andrew Blake I was telling you about. Captured Beauty.
That's Tori Wells. Oh,
yeah, and it's not. Yeah. I don't know if it's correct, but I don't think it's Tori Wells.
No, you're right.
But that's one of those where there's not a lot of sex in it, like in terms of penetration. It's just
beautiful walking around.
Beautiful. They're walking around in outfits. They look like I'll tell you like there's a scene. It's a weird thing to reference, but there were things that turned me on as a kid that I can't even explain. One was, do you remember the old Flash Gordon movie from like the 80s?
Yes.
With Sam Jones. You know, like they reference it in the movie Ted. Right? So there's this
funny movie.
I love Ted. There's this woman who's an Italian actress. She plays Princess Aura, which is Ming's daughter.
Yeah,
and
I remember that.
Ming's daughter, and she wears this outfit.
Jerk off to that.
We'll put it on. We'll actually put on. I have the Blu-ray of Flash Gordon. She wears this outfit. She looks like a total BDSM outfit, but it's all silver. She comes out, and I remember as a kid just watching the scene where she walks, watching Flash Gordon, and just getting so turned on. Yeah. And then later, she's being tortured. She's tied up. There's so many things in normal like movies. Like I did an article about this in Film Threat magazine where I had a dominatrix review like mainstream movies and then talk about weird like Planet of the Apes is so Makita Saad, like so much. There's where Princess Aura is like tied up, and Clytus, the sort of gold-faced guy in the hood, is torturing her, and he says, "Bring me the ball worms," and she says, no, not the ballworms.
Yeah.
We don't even know what's going to happen.
Sorry, it sounded like Marge from Simpsons.
No, not the ballworms.
Right?
Colitis. And she has this weird accent, because she's Italian. It's weird. It's weird only from the standpoint of, Ming the Merciless is played by Max von Sydow, who's Swedish. So he has a Swedish accent. He covers it up very
I didn't know
well.
he was Swedish. I didn't know
Isn't he Swedish?
I don't know. I'm
pretty sure he's Swedish.
Okay.
He has a Swedish. He hides his accent very well. She has like an Italian accent. Everyone has a different accent. That movie was very international. Like the movie Dune, it makes no sense that Duke Leto has a different accent than his son. He has a German accent.
Gotcha.
Okay, this is really nerdy stuff. As we're trying to talk about porn. I was on this podcast, if I could remind you, called Projection Booth. Let's get into that. And then we will come back to us. Because that's the whole point of this podcast, because we've gone nearly an hour. We've gone over an hour talking about my porn collection, your success, Yoshi, and just to make sure, just in case there are people...
First of all, we did talk about your porn collection, but no success.
But yeah. Well,
I don't like lying about stuff.
You're like a comic that, like, first of all, I really feel terrible that I didn't know your stuff. Like, I feel like I should have known your work. Like,
no,
Anthony was telling me that you're on Netflix. There's a Netflix special that you're on.
It's something I did for Russell Peters, but it's really bad. And
I'm watching it. I'm putting in my.
Bad at all.
But Chris, I have to say, the thing that really surprised me about doing podcasts last year and a half, 2 years or so, that I really enjoy talking stuff like this than doing stand up. I like stand up, but it's really fun just to have a random conversation because. You do that one more time. I'm going to cut you out.
Okay, I just put on the David Cho sock puppet. I just put on the David Cho sock puppet. Now, the David Cho sock puppet is being fisted by Chris Gore. This is weird. I've never had a man's fist up my ass. Okay, so... But I feel like people should know who you are. And like as soon as I discovered who you are and I liked your stuff, I just looked you up everywhere. And then I wanted to do your podcast, but then I thought it'd be fun.
Glad you contacted me. I'm really bad with names. I recognized you right away from TV.
You did?
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. It's
partly because I can't sleep. I watch a lot of TV too. But
right.
But I like the things that you say and like 10 or 12 episodes of things listening. I was really.
You listen to PodCRASH?
Yeah, and I was really happy because a lot of things I really agree with you.
Yeah. Oh well, thank you.
So I really enjoy that too. Like the thing.
Well, I agree with a lot of your stuff, except for the prostitutes' buttholes. That is like where I draw. And this, like the idea. Not that I haven't been tempted, but every story of a friend of mine who has been with a prostitute is so sad. I feel like I can't ever do it. I'd rather jerk off to porn. I feel like I have a healthy interest in that. Not that I'm saying that your stories are sad. It's like I feel like you have a healthy attitude. You're like, that's what I like. That's what I like. And it's like, you know what? And you're not hurting anybody. Everything. Not yet. Well, you're not. Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, you were talking about a certain kind of porn where like the girls these days, they really are roughed up. Like, your host that you on DVD Asakura, has been in some things where she likes the rough things.
Yeah,
I feel tough. Like she's tough. Like that is she can't walk for like a week after doing some of those scenes. But I feel like you have an honesty and like also I feel like if you're not hurting anyone else, I think that once you get in the arena where you're hurting other people, I think that's an issue.
Yeah. I've only got one prostitute in USA when I was 15, Long Beach.
How did that go? Long Beach.
Not good. I was
working the shipyards.
Not good. I was just walking by and this young black girl said like, "Oh, you want a blowjob for $20 or something?" And like I never heard anybody talk to me like that, right? So I ran home. I had a sandwich bag full of change. I think I had like 1965. I struggled for the last 35 cents for like an hour and a half, 2 hours. So I came back, tried to get a blowjob, and like maybe a minute, all of a sudden her boyfriend / pimp kicked me down and took the money, and like it went through my pocket, and like, motherfucker, next time bring more money, whatever, and that's it. And then barely.
So nothing happened?
I mean, got maybe a minute of blowjob, maybe less than that.
But that's pretty much enough for you.
Oh, because I'm Asian?
No, I'm saying because you were saying you were like 3 minutes. Not because you.
But I mean, those are like crazy sensation. You never. when you're getting a blowjob first time, you're just like, it's the most incredible thing. It makes you feel like you could do anything. I could bring peace to Middle East. I could balance the budget for U.S. You know what I mean? Just like you getting when you getting a girl giving you a blowjob and eating your ass out, it makes you feel like you're a superhero.
Wow. Speaking of that, I have some superhero of a triple export. So before
this is going to be the least downloaded episode, and
we'll see. But the least only because I talk too much. I'm so. I just want people to know who you are, and I want people to check your stuff out as I have discovered you. Because I'll get into a thing where like I'll discover either a podcast or something. It's like an author, and it's like I have to read everything, or like a podcast. I have to download all of them and listen to all of them.
Your show is brilliant because I don't think anyone else has done it.
No, one guy tried to copy it, but it was such a direct.
I bet Asians, right?
No,
they always copy shit from white people. Make it better.
Well, they do make it better, but. But there was one guy that tried to. I don't even want to get into the story. One guy tried to copy it, but it was such a direct ripoff. There's like other podcasts that play clips from other shows. Yeah. Mine is just weird because it's so narcissistic.
No,
it's
but
me talking about me.
It's really good because you're always talking about something different and interesting. And it's a nice thing for other podcasters getting exposed because you're doing them a service, you know. So.
Well, I think that I don't think that the top 10 podcasts should dominate the landscape. No. I think that like people should discover. I'm always looking for what's the new podcast. Yeah. What's the new podcast, and that goes into my rotation.
It's kind of like if you only did that for movies, only the blockbuster films. So like Michael Bay. I like Michael Bay film. It's fun to watch, but only that kind of movies would dominate. You want to hear other people. I don't even give a shit if only 40 people listen to it. If it's good and it's interesting to me, I will listen to it.
Yeah.
And you're doing them a favor.
Well, I just want to help. I just want people to realize that there is a larger landscape than the top 10 podcasts, which are the ones that get all the play. And so I think it's hard.
Have you done stuff from overseas?
I've done stuff in Canada. I have not done an overseas podcast yet. Should I?
I don't know.
Maybe if there's ones that you recommend, I don't know. I don't know of a lot of overseas podcasts.
This is my impression because I do stand up a lot in Scandinavia, and I was surprised how big podcasts, like Joe Rogan Experience, is like a number one thing over there.
In Scandinavia?
Yeah, like I do a lot of work in Denmark, Sweden, Norway. I guess Finland's kind of part of Scandinavia.
So they listen to American podcasts?
Yeah, like Mark Maron's, like that really shocked me, you know.
Wow.
And then so they're familiar with American.
That's my goal, is to be the Mark Maron of Sweden.
I'm guaranteeing it. I'm
serious.
I don't want to give too much credit, but because I've been there a lot, so people know me. So as soon as they hear me, they do internet search, they find that there's another. Like I'm doing your thing.
Right.
There will be people from Denmark and Sweden and Norway for sure would listen to it.
Denmark listeners, if you are hearing
amazing.
it now.
I love Scandinavian people. They're great. They're just amazing. You could say the most horrible shit on stage. They'll laugh with you.
Wow. It's weird when you find out like because we were talking about racism earlier. It's like how much like racist other cultures. I mean, America gets a deserved rap as being pretty freaking racist. I mean, like, you know, we've got our first black president, except we don't want him to do anything.
Can I give you a defense?
Please.
Actually, my feeling about America, which I love a lot, I love this country. It's kind of like economists. 95% of economists agree on economic principles, but it's just that 5 or 10% when they disagree, that makes news. We make news about racial problem in this country when something horrible happened, but vast majority of the time, people get along incredibly well in this country. And if they don't like somebody, they just don't associate with them. You know where you have problems? Country that is homogenous. And let me tell you, there's a lot of racial problem in Asia. And they pretend like they don't think they have a racial problem simply because they don't have other racial group. They don't have experience dealing with it. We don't get enough credit in this country how well we deal with each other. And I'm just saying it for someone who's from another country living here. There's problem, but...
Wait, you're not a naturalized... You're not like
I'm a U.S.
citizen
citizen now, but I grew up in Japan, you know.
Oh, right.
So I know a lot of people say how bad it is, racial problems, but I see it other way. It's worse other places.
Well, it's
because they don't have other race. That's why they think they're not prejudiced.
Well, that's why
there are fucking prejudiced countries outside of this country, and I think we do a very good job.
Well, that's why I moved. I mean, part of the reason I moved from the Midwest is I feel like there's sort of a an underlying racism that's always there. I think it's also because the culture is a little too gentrified. There's too much of a dominant culture. And I feel like in America, you know, like at least in LA, in LA, it's so diversified. I don't know that there's a dominant group. There's maybe dominant in this area or that area. I think Koreatown, there's probably more Koreans in Koreatown, which I live like right by Koreatown. And there's a lot more Koreans.
If you're racist living in LA and New York City, you'll be exhausted.
Yeah, no.
Where do you fucking start? Like, you have so many people to hate.
Yeah, exactly.
Your head's going to explode.
Exactly. And it's also a complete waste of time.
Yeah.
It's to me, I look on it as, and this comes back to watching Star Trek with my dad as a kid growing up. Yeah. And, you know, the quote from Spock being, you know, infinite diversity and infinite combination. Yeah. That was, and I just growing up with the ideals of Star Trek, as nerdy as that is, sort of made me kind of blind. One of my best friends growing up when I was in Michigan in high school was John Woo. Yeah. And
that's
his name was John Woo. I know. I know, not the director, but his name was John Woo, and he was Chinese. And he would experience stuff, and I just liked John. I like people that like the same things I like. Yeah. Right? Okay. I like, agree. And John laughed at my jokes. John Woo laughed at my jokes when I was in high school. So that I thought was great. Like, oh, he laughed at my joke. I would always try to sit by him. Yeah. My goal was to always make him laugh. Then he would get in trouble because he would laugh really loud as I was making jokes. And I liked him because he was smart. He was smarter than me in many respects. And we recently reconnected on Facebook like a year ago. And I love reconnecting because he was one of my favorite people. Like, there were a short list of people I liked in high school. Yeah. And he was one of them. So, but I was just like,
but once you like somebody, you don't think like I don't think you as a white person. I just like I only know you maybe barely a month and a half, but this is somebody I could relate a lot of different things. But as long as I could relate and have a good time, I don't really think in that terms.
I don't think because it's first of all, I think it's just like it's burdensome. Yeah. If you have that, like any sort of racist thoughts, like I feel like it's like. What a waste of energy. Yeah. It's such a waste of it. And to me, I've always been friendly with people. I've lived in like some horrible neighborhoods where I was like, I'm the only white guy. Yeah. I'm the only white guy. Yeah. But I would just make jokes. I would like smile. Yeah. I would be friendly to people. I would just, I don't know. I feel like I get along out of just like that I feel ignorant. Like ignorant of that like sometimes like people be like I was in Atlanta once. Yeah. For a film festival, and I went to this Denny's, and I was the only white guy in the Denny's, and I'm just like, oh, I want a cheeseburger at Denny's. Like, it's like I was walking to the movie theater, and like and everyone's looking at me, and I realized like, oh, they're not used to the one white guy. Like first of all, I wasn't afraid, I didn't care, and like
I sense that too. I bet
I like people, and so like I was just friendly, but there were people I could sense that were like, oh, they're not vibing with me being here. They're like uncomfortable that I'm here, and I felt bad like. I don't want to I don't want to cause a burden for someone else, but like I was just like I don't.
But in that situation, that situation, it's their problem. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I wasn't doing anything other than like I went there, I ordered my food, I ate my food, I was like smiling with people. I usually make like I do with anybody. I'll just make jokes to strangers, like oh wow, no, you went the Rudy Tooty Fresh and Fruity, well, blah blah blah. That's an IHOP reference, actually. It's not a Denny's. Anyways, thank God for the David Cho sock puppet that's helping me carry my beer up to my face.
You want to go
In
back?
any case, let's get back to the we'll get back to the podcast and we'll come back to us. Yeah. So, and is there anything that we missed, Anthony? You've been overhearing all this. Anthony, you've been very quiet. You're working, actually, right?
Yeah, I'm working. I'm working on the YouTube videos. That's what I do.
That's well, among other things, a lot of other things. But like, do we? I think we hit everything we're supposed to talk about in this. I was on this podcast called The Projection Booth. Yeah. And Mike White is a guy that, there's a weird story about him where, like, he did Cashier Do Cinemart, this magazine. I did Film Threat. Right. And he discovered all these things. I wrote about things that he talked about in Film Threat. And then we had something of a falling out. Reconnected, and then I was hosting this TV show called Ultimate Film Fanatic. Weird story. And maybe I talk about it on the podcast. I'm not sure. I was hosting this TV show called Ultimate Film Fanatic. He was a contestant. Okay. And one of the things when you're a game show host, this was for IFC years ago, before they became the Comedy Network. No one knows what IFC stands for. It used to stand for Independent Film Channel. I have no idea what it stands for now. Independent Comedy, Funny Comedy. Independent Funny Comedy. is what IFC stands for. In any case, Mike White was on the show.
Or I fuck Chinese.
I fuck Chinese. I fuck Chinese is what IFC stands for. So I was on the show, and like, you have to disclose if you have a relationship with a person. It's like, well, I know this guy, and he was disqualified from being on Ultimate Film Fanatic.
Do you wish you would have
because I know him?
Not say that.
No, I have to be honest.
Okay.
It would have come out. I have to be honest. I have to be, because there's legal issues there, and I know this guy, and I felt so terrible because he traveled all the way from Michigan. Yeah. He was like, so Mike White, awesome guy. Yeah. Cashier to Cinemart, awesome magazine. I was on his podcast, and his podcast, like, if you are a movie nerd, there is the Projection Booth is one of the best podcasts in terms of their level of detail. Yeah.
They're just masters.
They're masters. So they were doing an episode about this movie, Night Dreams. They'll take a movie or a personality or someone, and they'll do... So we talk about the movie Night Dreams. I'm just going to get right to it.
Right.
And you'll come back to us. So here are clips from Projection Booth, hosted by Mike White, Mondo Justin, Josh Hadley. This was actually recorded it was recorded about a year ago. But I was waiting for the right moment to release this. It was recorded like a year ago, so it's kind of, this is like almost like a PodCRASH classic. And we talk about, Mike and I talk about, like, you know, doing underground magazines. We talk about the movie Night Dreams. Let's just get right to it.
Let's do it.
And we're going to come back to us. So if you, because the one thing I will warn you is this, I was recorded via Skype. It wasn't a live. I always prefer to do podcasts live. This was recorded via Skype. So the audio is not the best in terms of me, but Yoshi and I and Anthony will be back after we listen to Projection Booth.
So, Chris, I was just curious to see if you remember an article that Film Fret put out back in like 91, 92, where you had Josh Becker visit the set of Reservoir Dogs.
I do remember that. I just remember meeting Quentin Tarantino and coming to my house and saying, hey, I'm getting ready to start this movie. And I said, oh, cool, up-and-coming filmmaker. We'll be sure to cover your movie. And Josh Becker was the guy that, like, I don't want to do where you go to the set. You have sort of an indirect connection to Quentin. Just do a sort of preview coverage of this film. Sounds cool.
Right. And in that article, Josh Becker called Quentin Tarantino ugly. So I was just wondering if Tarantino ever contacted you, in response. Like, was he pissed off?
I mean, we do like to report the truth. Quentin's a weird-looking dude. I didn't hear any flack from that. I did hear some flack about the story that was later when Pulp Fiction came out, and Mike, your video that inspired all of that. There was no internet for that thing to spread virally, but it did spread virally on VHS, that's for sure.
I think I have you to thank for that. I seem to remember reading an article where you sent my short to some reporter and marked the VHS tape evidence across it.
Right. Well, I wanted it just to get out there. I didn't want to be the only outlet covering this. I was really offended. I mean, I think about it now, though, and I think like so many filmmakers steal stuff. It really goes unnoticed. For example, I think George Lucas, even in his early career, stole so many things, but it was such a mix of so many different influences and blending and a whole fresh original tone that it doesn't feel like stealing at all. It's just, I mean, there are plenty of people that steal badly. I mean, a lot of bad genre horror movies steal stuff poorly. But people that really do it well, Quentin Tarantino, George Lucas, just do it in a way that just feels so fresh and original that the original source is just sort of just adding on or just sort of using that as inspiration and then taking it another step.
You go to a lot of film festivals, and you've written how many of those Ultimate Film Festival survival guides?
Up to the 4th edition of the book right now.
So are you still going out every year to festivals?
I do. I try to go to a film festival I've never been to because I just want to sort of add another little notch to like the number of film festivals I've attended. But this is the first year I'm actually taking a break from festivals. I'm just attempting to do some other projects. And in order to do that, I'm taking a break this year from film festivals.
So speaking of film festivals, I've heard you've gotten some flack over the years from some of the film festivals you've written about. Maybe you care to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, what one was it? It was something like the New York International Independent Film Festival, blah, blah, blah. I mean, basically, I say in my book, like, if you're spending more than $100 on an entry fee, or if someone is actually cold calling you or sending you this cold email out of the blue saying, hey, we saw your movie, and it's a really good chance that if you submit your movie to our festival, you'll get in the festival, but you have to send us $100. That's just someone who wants $100.
Yeah, and aren't those festival promoters really great at policing everything that's said about them?
They threatened me. I mean, they somehow got my home number, called me up at home, and threatened to sue me because first of all, they've got the money to sue. But I have no problem telling people about these scam film festivals. But a lot of times, their justification is like, well, you can give all this money to these other festivals, you don't get in. At least if you give us money, you're guaranteed to get in. They got you on the hook. And they say, now that you're in the festival, why don't you pay us to advertise your trailer and pay us to put up your movie posters and pay us to screen? So they offer this sort of menu of entree items of other services that they sell you, where you could go to one of these scam festivals and drop $5,000 pretty quickly. So this is where they get all their money. And to me, I look at it as no different than if filmmakers weren't giving them money, they wouldn't be successful. But the reason filmmakers are giving these festivals money is because they've been rejected even from the shitty film festival. What the people are seeking when they're paying, they're seeking some vindication that the time they spent, the years, the heartache, the dollars, the investment that they put in, they don't want to be embarrassed to their family and their friends and to the people they made the film with. So they get to say, hey, I was at the blah, blah, blah International Independent Film Festival where we won an award, which they paid for. Yeah, I'm not a fan of those types of festivals. But you got to learn the lesson. If your movie was rejected from a bunch of film festivals, maybe you should make a better movie.
You were a part of that official rejection documentary, weren't you? I'm
in it. I pop up now and then. I'm also on the commentary. I forgot.
How many documentaries have you been in to date?
Recently, I'm going to cut back. I'm in Sticky, which is a movie about masturbation. It's funny because they have like Jocelyn Elders is on there. She was the Surgeon General of the United States under Clinton, who actually was recommending that kids masturbate. Then there's priests. I am the entertainment expert. So I talk about famous scenes and how masturbation is portrayed in the media, specifically film. So it's always portrayed as an act that is grotesque. And I've always thought of it as something I really enjoy doing on a fairly regular basis.
And then you're also in the People versus George Lucas documentary with me.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Oh, I forgot about that documentary. Yeah, no, I love that doc. I think to me that's the best of the docs that I've seen. There's a couple of others that are in post-production, but People versus George Lucas I really like because I don't think it doesn't completely slam George.
So what have you been up to lately? You're doing G4's Attack of the Show. You're taking a break from film festivals. What else do you have in the works?
Yeah, I mean, I sold FilmThreat.com to Mark Bell, who's doing a great job running that. And it was sort of like a way for me to be able to take a step back and get out from under that obligation, which was a huge, I don't want to do that stuff anymore, so I want to take a step back. So I've been working on a book, which was originally supposed to be a book about Film Threat, which is now kind of morphed into something else. The working title of it right now is just Nerdlebrity, because it's not just about Film Threat. Film Threat's part of it, but it's all these other bizarre nerd stories kind of getting me to where I am now. So I'm working on that. I am working on a documentary about Film Threat, but I don't know exactly what my role will be. Right now I'm just archiving every piece of footage, every photograph, creating a digital library of this stuff in anticipation of doing a documentary at some point. I, of course, do an Attack of the Show. I just did a show for Travel Channel. I'm working on another film, which I don't want to talk about now, but another film that I hope to submit to festivals before the end of the year. And then I'm also focusing on my stand-up comedy.
How'd you become interested in doing stand-up comedy?
Ever since I was a kid, I've loved comedy, whether it be Saturday Night Live, which I recorded with a cassette recorder when I was a kid so I could just listen to Saturday Night Live on cassette tape, to, listening to comedy albums, to just being obsessed with it, to going to see stand-up comedy, to just seeing some of my favorite alt comedians cross over into movies like Zach Galifianakis, or following the careers of people like Patton Oswalt and Paul F. Tompkins, and then being around that world. And then, I wrote a comedy, my Big Fat Independent movie, and I literally, it's like destiny punching me in the face, where I would be at the hardware store just talking to someone at the register, and they would ask me, "Are you a comedian?" I was in an airport. "Are you a comedian?" Talking to nobody. "Are you a comedian?" This happens to me constantly. And I go, yes, fine, I am. Literally the universe just saying, "Why aren't you a comedian?"
When I was a class clown in high school.
Right.
Which I'm sure you were,
no,
right?
Not at
in
all.
Japan? What is the class clown in Japan? Is probably someone who just, because the Japanese are so respectful and they're so like.
At least that's the stereotype.
Is that the stereotype? I mean, it is the stereotype that I don't know. I've never been a Japanese schoolgirl.
I'm old enough. I'm born in '69. That's why I'm in the porn business. Or used to
Nice. This is episode 69 of this podcast.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, it is episode 69. I planned this on purpose.
But I'm old enough that back in those days when I was in elementary school in Japan, teachers can't hit you.
Really? It's
Yeah.
legal.
It's legal. Like the parents are like, yeah, if my kid is behaving, hit the guy, you know?
Wow, it reminds me of a Japanese movie. Have you ever heard of a movie called Suicide Club?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, brilliant. Brilliant. And effed up. The thing with the meat in the rails.
To it 4 times to it.
There's creepy, weird sexual stuff in that. What I love about seeing adult content from other cultures, I feel like the holy trinity of perverted cultures are the Japanese, the Germans, and the English.
Yeah.
Any argument? The Brits, the Germans.
I think Brits are more naughty.
Right. They invented sploshing.
Yeah.
Which you never talked about prolapse porn.
Prolapse is basically internal walls of your anus comes out of your ass like a giant beef jerky. Like imagine Alien.
It's like a reverse beef jerky though, because it's like a tube.
Yeah, tube. But this raw beef is just sticking on your asshole, and even I don't understand why that's a sexual thing, but some guys are into it, you know. And I don't know. Was there always taste for that, or we're changing people's taste because they're getting?
Do you think people are being desensitized?
Some guys watch too much shit, and after a while, they need something new to stimulate. I don't know. I'm not a drug.
So you think they're desensitized?
I think so. Some people are smoking weed, and after a while, they get tired of it. Maybe they try hard stuff. I don't know. I'm not a drug person. I don't know if that's how it works, but I don't get it. I watch a lot of porn, and I don't. That's not really.
But that's now a thing. Prolapse porn. I don't have any prolapse DVDs in my collection.
Your stuff is all aesthetically pleasing women, and they're not getting abused. Most of those are not.
So you're complimenting my porn collection, is what you're doing. Thank you very much, Yoshi.
But for me, I have a mixed feelings. My experience with prostitutes, I noticed that the prettiest girls not necessarily doesn't guarantee you have a great sex experience with them, because. I look for girls where you could feel sexual energy. You know what I mean? Remember in Highlander, whenever he walked by another Highlander guy, he could feel it. I know when a girl, obviously they're doing it for money, but the girls who are still into it, I could kind of sense it from the girl. It doesn't necessarily have to be the pretty one. It's often not. Average looking or plain looking girl, oftentimes I feel like they have a great sexual energy.
So if they made a Yoshi, a Yoshi porn. You could be in a movie called
pro women in the sense that I don't judge women by their look, because if you're purely thinking about sex, I don't think the look is that important to me.
No, I agree. So some of the best sex I've ever had is not with the best looking women. It's because I feel like there's almost a challenge where a woman is and when I say best looking, it's so subjective. I like different types of women. I do tend to like you mentioned Alexis Texas, that I love Alexis Texas. Her that sort of body type I think is amazing.
Is perfect.
Yeah, she's amazing, but I feel like it's a confidence is sexy. It's like a personality trait that is sexy, but I feel like if they made Yoshi, if they made a porn movie of your life, it would be the Bonelander.
I don't know that one.
Instead of the Highlander, the Bonelander.
Oh, sorry, I should have been paying attention.
Sorry, I made that joke too late. I should have made it in the moment you were talking about Highlander. I could talk about Bonelander.
Yeah.
Anyways, okay, all right.
Would you stop?
Sorry, that's the David Cho sock puppet that is taking over the
Interesting
show.
enough, everyone. When Chris jerk off next time, he's going to be using that socks to clean it.
I will be. Yeah, no, exactly.
Dave deserved to have a stupid.
Do not put this sock puppet under a black light. That's all I'm saying. But no. What I want to ask you about is I'm just sort of in my career, I've had people I was kind of the class clown growing up.
Yeah.
When I look at early issues of Film Threat, a lot of them are more of a comedy magazine.
Yeah.
It was compared to Film Threat was called the spy magazine of film. Because at the time, Spy Magazine was the biggest comedy magazine.
Yeah.
So they compared it to that because it was a movie magazine, but also we had parodies and satires and a lot of humor in it, which came from me. And then I only I just having TV was not something I just sort of fell into. And then I've had so many people say, "Are you a comedian?" They would literally ask me "Is that your job?" And no, I just like people and I like
you have the right perfect. Outgoing personality and intelligence. You see sense of humor into it.
Right.
My problem's I see odd humor. I'm more fan of laughter. Mm-hmm. I don't necessarily have to be on stage either. If it's a very funny comedian, I could really enjoy it. Like my favorite comedy movie of all time is Taxi Driver.
Really? I love Taxi Driver.
That to me is so funny for all the wrong reasons. It's hilarious.
Right.
It's full of irony. The guy taking a girl to a porn theater think that's a romantic thing. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
And the fact,
like that whole where Travis Bickle is just trying to. Yeah. What's so funny is whenever I'm asked like my address by someone that I don't want to give the address to, I give the address in Taxi Driver.
Oh, really?
That's
funny.
124 Hopper Avenue, hip hop. I always give that as my address when I don't want someone to know my address. I just use the one from Taxi Driver.
I think that's a really funny movie to me. It's just hilarious.
But I mean, a lot of dark stuff is funny that way. Like Paul Thomas Anderson movies, I think are hilarious, but they're not comedies per se. Yeah. There's humor in it, like Boogie Nights.
Yeah, most people,
which you talked about Boogie Nights on one of your podcasts.
Problem with most average person watching comedy, they're always afraid laughing at some things because they think if you somehow laugh about rape joke or a child molestation joke, a lot of them actually think they're condoning those actions. That's not what comedians are doing.
Right.
We're laughing at this horrific situation where we're trying to do, like a lot of doctors, cops, paramedics, firemen, they're able to do those jobs because they're able to have this black humor. They're not laughing at the situation. They don't like it, but for them to continue to do good work, they have to have a black humor to laugh at it. You know what I mean? So to someone who doesn't deal with that sort of things, they think it's wrong to laugh. But believe me, laughter is a great thing. I mean, all the horrible people in the world, Hitler and the serial killers, they're not known to be a funny people.
Right.
They're not. They don't laugh. And that's where I think I have a problem at times. I think laughing at horrible stuff is great. Because life is full of good and bad things,
Yeah. I think it's how we process things also. Like, when you've had a horrible experience, if there's a way, once you've processed it, if there's a way to be able to look back and like one day we'll look back and laugh at it. Like I got in a fight with my girlfriend. And like, this is like weeks ago.
And you accidentally killed her.
And no, but now it's weeks later. We're laughing about the thing we got in a fight, and I'm like, oh, this is so healthy. This is great. This is like we're over it. We're over it because we're joking about it. We've moved on, and so that's a good thing. All right, let's get back to. We're going to come back in the midst of this, but let's get back. Here's a little bit more projection booth. We talk about night dreams.
Chris, when did you first come across night dreams?
I was working at a video store when I was a kid called Thomas Film Classics, which changed its name to Thomas Video. And it was proudly one of the only places where you could rent adult films. You could rent adult films and videos. So I just lied about my age to get a job there. I was under 18 years old. I was 16. And I got a job there, and after a while they finally found out that I was underage, but by that time I was over 18, so it didn't matter. But we were allowed to take things home, and I remember asking, "Hey, I'd like to take home, an adult film?" And one of the guys recommended Night Dreams. I think it was Jim Olensky from the Thomas Video, which still exists in Detroit. It's like a staple. Like they specialize in cult films. Anyways, I took it home, and I just remember, aside from the fact that I jerked off to it, like all of us, I'm sure did, that it didn't have the sort of annoying dialogue, the kind of dialogue where it's like, yes, there's dialogue in it, but it's not it's really just it's in service of the story, of which there's little. It's really just sort of mining this chick's imagination for her arousing dreams and then showing those sequences. And the music, I remember being really affecting. I remember the cinematography was great, and I remember it was the best use of cream of wheat I think ever in an adult film. So my memory of it was just like, wow, this is one of, it was one of the first times where I remember seeking out movies made by a particular director and looking at it like this was something that was beyond an adult film. It was one of those it was slow moving in all the best ways, I think. But my memory of it is taking it home from the video store and then watching it, thinking I was in for a jerk-off experience, but it blew more than just my mind.
We should really talk about the music. There's really only 2 songs in this, and one of them is Wall of Voodoo. Doing Ring of Fire. How many porno films have Wall of Voodoo on the soundtrack, which is just amazing. And then we've got Old Man River going during the cream of wheat scene, just kind of a peppy version of that. And then the rest of it is just these kind of weird soundscapes that go throughout the film. I mean, there's the scene with the Arabs where it's just this kind of murmuring noise of all these guys talking in this kind of foreign language, is kind of real low. And then the industrial noises during the hell scene. I mean, this is just absolutely so strange, but so effective and really kind of creepy. I don't know if you guys get a little creeped out while you're getting turned on.
Well, Mike, do you know why the Wall of Voodoo stuff is in there?
No, do tell.
The director, Francis Delia, or Delia, however it's pronounced, he directed about 3 or 4 different Wall of Voodoo videos, so I believe they're friends in real life.
Including the classic Mexican radio, I hope.
Yes, he did that one as well. I want to say how I first encountered this film is in a really roundabout way. I had porn legend Bill Margold on my show, and we became friends after he guested on my show once, and we've been talking ever since. I mentioned to him once I was a Laserdisc collector. So all of a sudden, 3 days later, I get a stack of Laserdiscs in the mail, all adult ones, that he didn't want anymore. One of them was Night Dreams 2, and I figured I better see the first film first. So I sought it out and was just totally blown away.
Because of all the unanswered questions from the first Night Dreams.
The second one, I don't know if Chris has seen it, but it's not nearly as good as the first one.
You know what? I don't even remember it. I remember we had it at the store, but this was definitely one of those. And then I began to actually seek out not only other films by the same director, I mean, Cafe Flesh, certainly, but also just any adult film that aspired to be more than just jerk-off material was interesting. The other director that comes to mind is Andrew Blake. I remember I actually met him at AEE doing some stuff for G4 covering AEE, but Andrew Blake's work was just incredible, and he continues to work till today. He's one of those guys that still uses like a wind-up Bolex to shoot. It's incredible what the kind of looks that he gets. The fact that they put effort into it, they set up these weird settings for things to take place, and they sort of had the use of sound in the movie, not just the music, but I think you guys would both agree, the use of sound in the film is sort of this, has a lulling effect because it's very repetitive in the way that like sex content tends to be repetitive, but the lulling sound actually adds like a dream-like feeling to the whole thing, and you end up feeling definitely creeped out, especially the sequence with the dudes with the masks. That has almost a Clockwork Orange feel to it.
Well, yeah, and then there's that sequence of what I call the Hollow Man, where she's got the unborn baby and all that. I mean, that's just, what the hell is going on? And that's, what is this doing in a porn film? So I appreciate that it's there, but it's just like, wow, this is nuts. Even some of the weird throwaway scenes too, like the part where you see her having a cigarette and there's a fish next to her.
You also can't discount the devil's voice. Whatever they did in post to the devil's voice made him so creepy sounding.
Also, it features perhaps the one and only instance of nasal sex in a movie. Okay, so let's talk about this movie, Night Dreams. Okay. It was directed by this guy.
I saw it years ago. I don't remember.
So you don't remember, but it's one of those ones, and I feel like there's a whole genre of adult films of like, where it's like a woman and she's in an insane asylum, and then they go into her brain, and then she's having dreams, and they're all sexual dreams, so nothing's really happening because it's all in her head. That's a whole genre of adult.
Is there any rape incident in that thing?
It could be rape-y, but I don't think there's any rape.
Okay.
Any actual rape. There's like weird stuff where like
there's
a cream of wheat guy like goes after a chick.
Because there's a lot of that stuff in 70s, and you just cannot do it in the modern porn,
Well, yeah, it's almost like the kink.com stuff, which I've seen online. They always do this thing where they interview. Kink.com is this website, they actually did. There's a documentary called Kink that actually was at the recent Sundance Film Festival. Kink.
Was it by James Franco? If I remember?
I'm not sure. That was a different one. That was a different one where he reenacted scenes from Cruisin' with Al Pacino at gay bars or something.
I see.
But Kink is a documentary about the website and about kink.com, which is this.
It's up in San Francisco, and they have this massive building that used to belong to the U.S. military, and they do some great work.
They do these adult movies that are like, basically they don't make, like most movies are comprised of 4 to 6 scenes.
Yeah.
Their movies are like one scene that goes for an hour and a half. Like,
public humiliation, bondage, S&M sort of things.
But what they do is they always do this thing where they do an interview with the people before and after the experience. So it's like before, I've always thought about this, or I've always fantasized about it. And then they show it after. So it's like they're out of, so what they do is like the bulk of the content, the 90%, the middle, not the bookmarked 5% of the interviews before and interviews after, is this middle part where they're actually doing it, and that's role play. And then at the end, it's almost like they want to show like, look, they're okay, because horrible stuff happens in the midst of that. And that's the only thing I could compare. When you brought that up, that was like, I've seen a few of those videos, and I feel like it goes a little too far for me. I tend to go more for the aesthetically pleasing, more for the Andrew Blake cinematography.
Those are beautiful films.
Yeah. But like the kink.com stuff, while I appreciate it, I feel like sometimes it goes a little too far for me in my...
I think a lot of people who watch porn are concerned about that stuff because if they like something...
I'm glad that it exists. Like, I support it existing.
I like it a lot, but... I'm really willing to like be honest with myself. Like when I watch those horrible stuff and like, what does it say about me? And like, it does make me feel bad because it does say something about you, right? Let me give you an example. Like, I don't particularly watch Japanese stuff, but the one that like, I hate to say it, it says something horrible about me, which is this time stop movies. You know what those? I think that's what they're called, time stop movies. So basically what happened was, it's one of those like goofy scientific scenario, or you know, a guy's walking down the street and all of a sudden he finds a little watch or one of those timer that people use to track and feel, and he pushed the button and stops time. So he could move around,
right?
But everybody stops. So basically, he'll go to like, let's say, grocery store and there's all this women shopping. He'll click the stop, all of a sudden women are frozen in the spot, then naturally he goes and take their clothes and start having sex with them. Right?
So they're called time stop movies?
Well, I mean,
Japan?
that's what I call them, but I don't know what's the proper... You're taking a picture.
I'm taking a picture of the David Cho puppet. But so this time stop, that's what you call it, but what, like there's more than one of these?
There's a lot of those. And I enjoy watching it, but I realize...
Yeah.
It's horrible because
you have a phone call. You're very popular.
Oh, I just realized watching that. I just realized I'm a rapist. That's what it is. I mean, that's what it comes down to. Most guys won't admit it, but like,
well, it is technically.
I guess if I had that and there's a fine girl,
but the thing is this.
I don't know if I could control myself.
Here's where they get away with it because it's science fiction.
Yeah.
In science fiction, you can get away with so much. I mean, look at Legend of the Overfiend. Oh, she's not being penetrated by 9 dicks.
Yeah.
Those are tentacles from an alien.
Yeah.
So I feel like in a way that's sort of science fiction. In a way, also, it's the Japanese version of Zapped.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know Zapped with Scott Baio, which was Zapped was like this horrible, cheesy teen movie from the 80s, but it was like a guy gets superpowers, like sort of telekinetic superpowers, but uses them basically to undress women and look up their skirts. Which upskirts, like, isn't it in Japan? Like, the upskirt thing is like kind of a big deal. Like,
that's another fetish, sure.
What is what
they
is
have
that?
A little stick with a camera on the bottom. They'll follow women up the stairs when they take those pictures, and I think a lot of guys like them because. My friend used to have a website called isanyoneup.com by Hunter Moore.
I know that one. Yeah. Oh my God. That was like really weird stuff. He would post like the weirdest stuff that you would find
like boyfriend girl is dating and a guy find out she was cheating on him. So he would take all her intimate pictures, send it to Hunter. Hunter would put her Facebook address, a Facebook page with her real name, where she works, with all her naked pictures, and sometimes even sucking dick or whatever. And the reason why I like it, even though most people never met it, porn is a fake, obviously, and it was manufactured to satisfy masses of people.
Wow.
Hunter Moore's pictures are only meant for that one guy to consume. You know what I mean? That's the appeal of the whole thing. Like, wow, that's just about every time I think I've seen everything in porn, some brilliant, perverted guy will bring something to the market. Like, I never thought about that. And those are humiliating for the girl. And it's terrible, but I have to be honest, it's like driving the freeway with a horrible car accident. I can't but to stare, you know? Well, like this girl, like a regular girl showing this thing, it was meant for one person. Now, millions of people are watching it. And they say a lot about me. I'm not proud of it, but I definitely like it a lot.
Is that website still around?
No, he sold it, but I think he might be even thinking about doing it. And there's others been copying the style, but it's just like your podcast. Some guy tried to copy it. Right. It's not their idea. They don't have a style, and you know what I mean? Like, you can't do stuff that is not your idea and you're not into it. You're into this, so that's why you're good at what you do.
Well, I will take that compliment. All right, back to Projection Booth.
I would posit that this film is something that really needs to be looked at by a lot more people outside of erotica and actually into academia. I mean, it's a highly effective film. It even breaks ground as an adult film. I mean, in any adult film these days, you never see a character who's not going to have sex at least once in the film. And in Night Dreams, you have a male and female scientist who, at one point, they're even having a candlelit dinner, and that these two never couple. It's truly remarkable.
What can I say? Yeah, no, it's weird. You see two people, you're like, okay, what are the couplings going to be? You know, what are they, group couplings? Are they this people getting together? I mean, you think about that when you see, you know, an adult film, but, you know, oddly enough, they've done marketing. People think of those things when it comes to romantic comedies. When it comes to a romantic comedy, the whole thing is like, do I want to imagine in my mind's eye Matthew McConaughey making it with Sandra Bullock? You know, and so the couplings and the sort of the whole thing with romantic comedies, because it's pretty much always the same movie every single time. And it's the type of movie that you can see the trailer and go, well, and they end up being together. They show you everything, the entire plot, except for do they get back together? And 99 times out of 100, that's always the case. But that's actually what they say in the market research. It's like they, you know, people in their mind's eye, they want to see what people they imagine getting together.
Chris, you brought up imagining. Can you imagine, since all of us saw this on video, what this would have been like to have seen in 1981 in a movie theater if we did not know what we were getting into, if we thought we were just going in for a little bit of spank bank material and we got a real movie instead?
Yeah, no, it's weird. I mean, there was a trend there definitely the industry was splitting off into a couple different arenas. And I think Boogie Nights kind of covers this, although I'd almost prefer to see a serious documentary about this period of time. But because there was that one movie, what was it called? Was it Middlemen? The movie where the guy basically invents a way to accept charges online, and that's what makes like the big boom on the internet in adult content. It was weird how the industry split into two parts. It was like the ones that still did the, you know, so-called real movies that were shot on film, that had plot stories and scripts and whatnot, and were you know, like making a little indie movie. And then the ones that just did stuff on video that were very simple. You know, very simple guy with a camera and a girl and a dude, and that was it. You know, but Night Dreams was one of those where you clearly the filmmakers were aspiring for more, and they could cut, and this happens to today, they'll cut a non-adult version. I mean, they did that with that Pirates movie. Although I think that's so dumb, because once you cut the adult content out, there's not much movie that's worth watching, let's be honest.
I will argue with that one. I would say Cafe Flesh. That one was also cut to an R and sold to HBO.
Right.
And that one actually has enough story that it can be a movie on its own without the penetration.
Yeah, I would agree with you definitely on Cafe Flesh, but I feel like it just doesn't work to today. I mean, almost also because I think it's much easier to cross over and make an indie movie with today's tools. You can get a prosumer camera where you can shoot something that's just as good quality as stuff you'll see at the theater, especially now that I feel like moviegoers have been broken. They've been broken in the sense that they'll go see a Chronicle or that Project X, and then there was also the Jackass movies. Like the quality doesn't matter. They want to be engaged. So a lot of those people were making adult films to get access to the tools and to get experience. But now that's unnecessary. You don't have to work in the adult world to actually get experience. You can upload videos to YouTube or XTube.
Right.
Well, and then have either of you guys seen the sequels to Night Dreams 2 or 3?
Yes, but I don't remember them. And I know there was like 2 and 3, but I don't. They're not as vivid in my mind as the original Night Dreams.
Nor should they be, because they went the cheapo route. Rinse Dream shot on video all of a sudden, and then there's no story. It's not broken up. It's just a couple of strange sets and an hour and 20 minutes of people screwing. It did not have the pop that the first film did, and that was the problem.
If you want to do this, consider Veronica Rockett's Smoker to be a better sequel for Night Dreams than Night Dreams 2 or 3. And then I would also say that the first couple films by Michael Ninn, Latex and Shock, kind of carry on the same story. I mean, there's a guy who's in a straitjacket and controlling people with his mind, and it's this very, highly evolved dream world. And that was done, I believe, on video, but all with video effects and just really this kind of, great homage to Metropolis and just all of these things going on. This very multi-layered dimension to everything. And I mean, other than the end of the first one, I think it's the first one. It might be the second one. There's a really horrible end to one of them. It's like this crazy bukkake scene, but otherwise it's just really nice looking, very great use of music as well. So I would say Michael Ninn really kind of picked up that torch and went with it, at least for a little while. Now he just kind of does these, hey, here's these sexy girls and I'm going to play, pretty music kind of things. And there's no story whatsoever anymore. But his first few films are really good.
I agree with you. Michael Ninn kind of took up the mantle of Rince Dream when it comes to, the cinematography and less of a storyline. Or let's just say this, there's less unnecessary dialogue. That's, I think, the thing that I notice. There's less dialogue that is, just interrupting the story. It was pretty much the same, like Shock and Latex was like pretty much the same story in a way. Like, okay, it's just, we're going to mine your dreams. And it's not the only one. I feel like that's now become like this recurring thing in adult films. It's like, and the excuse for all these weird situations is it's your dreams. And then you can just do anything. I mean, anything can be weird, but Michael Ninn is definitely one of those guys that I think focuses on cinema. I mean, it's weird. Like for us to sit here, how nerdy do you have to be that we're sitting here talking about adult films and we're talking mostly about the cinematography and the sets? We are sad. So there's a lot of other like older classic adult films that like sort of that like try to do something beyond your typical we're just like jerk off material. Like Cafe Flesh is one of my favorites also that's sort of in that realm.
Beethoven, Debbie Does Dallas, Behind the Green Door.
Yes, there are these ones.
1 and 2 Taboo.
There's one, I'll tell you,
Pretty Peaches.
The very first porn movie I ever saw. I have vivid memories of it. I can remember the music from the first porn scene. I was 14 years old. And I had a VCR that I had bought with money from my paper route. I'd saved a bunch of money for my paper route, bought this, I actually bought it on credit, and I helped my mom get credit because she was recently divorced. And the way she got credit is because I bought a VCR on credit from a video store. I think I might have been 12, actually. But when I was 14, I saw this porn movie, and it was a neighbor lent to me. I got to tell you the story.
Before you continue,
do
you think that damaged you? Because
No. I'll tell you why. What it did was...
You don't think it damaged any 14-year-old boy? You could say it didn't damage you, but...
I don't know. First of all, I have no way of knowing if it could have damaged me because I don't know the version of me that would have existed had I not seen porn. I think I definitely had an interest in that. I mean, they were like... God, I remember seeing a movie... I forget the name of this movie, but it was like The Great Train Robbery or something. And it had one shot with this girl where you see her wearing a garter. Yeah. And I think I watched that 1 minute over and over again. It was like David Cho's experience talking about like, discovering adult material and just trying to jerk off to anything when almost nothing exists. But like, I don't know if it damaged me. I think what it did is it prepared me for when I actually ended up having sex, which I lost my virginity when I was about 16. So it prepared me for that. And then also it showed me, like, I feel like if you watch porn in a healthy way, like it doesn't take over your life, I feel like...
The way they do in Scandinavia.
What do you mean? What they just, like, is that... What do you mean?
They're pretty open-minded.
Yeah, they're open-minded, just like healthy. Like, it's like part of my complete pop culture breakfast. I like comic books. I like these TV shows. I like this, and porn is in that mix, but it's not every day and it's not all the time. Yeah. It's not constant. It's in rotation, of things that I watch. They
legalized pornography in Denmark first.
Really?
So pornography's been pretty prominent in Scandinavia, and if you go to Germany, any city, anywhere in Germany, around 10 p.m. at night, there's like porn shit on all over the place.
But it's weird. So I discovered like all the movies you talked about previously, like I saw those because those were like in the early days of porn. VHS changed the industry. But there's the very first porn movie I watched. I have never been able to find since. And
what's it called? Do you remember?
It's called Babyface. The title of the movie was called Babyface, and I can remember the very first scene. It's like this guy's brought in, and this girl's attracted to her, and she's wearing these leather boots, and she basically takes her clothes off, and she has sex with this guy in front of a bunch of other women. And the guy's kind of embarrassed by it. She's having sex. But I remember the music, which was like this... Because I watched it so many times... It sounds like a porn from that
TV cop
show. It's horrible, but like that was the music, and I can vividly remember the music. I remember the video box cover. But any time I've ever looked up vintage porn, I will try to find Babyface. And I think it's because
that's a tough sell.
That's a tough sell because I think it
whenever
implies
there's a baby in a porn,
it implies underage.
Yeah.
It wasn't about an underage girl, but it was just the weirdest thing because I was seeing sex for the first time, and that was the movie I saw, and it was lent to me by a neighbor who was on my paper route when I was 14 years old, who also let me borrow a bootleg copy of Star Wars.
Yeah.
So I borrowed a bootleg copy of Star Wars and then this porn movie Babyface, and I'm thinking, like, had I ever exposed this, he would have gone to jail for something. I never did, and I wouldn't have said anything. But I'm sure he realized later that this was probably not a good idea. But now things are so strict with internet and everything, like it's sort of strict and it's not. Like it's strict if something happens, but when you've got like underage kids sending each other pictures of each other, that is an issue, right?
Yeah. Or a girl take a picture of herself naked and send it to someone. She could be considered as a child pornographer.
Right, if she's underage. Yeah. So in any case, that really, like seeing that movie, and then of course I saw Debbie Does Dallas, Behind the Green Door, Misty Beethoven, like all those ones that were popular at the time that were the first released on VHS, and then Cafe Flesh and Night Dreams. All those movies like really like had an impression on me. I don't know how it like changed me for the good or bad.
Yeah.
I just feel like when I began having sex, all I know is that girls said that it seemed like I knew what I was doing.
Yeah.
And not that I did, but the thing is at least I had some experience. Like I wasn't shocked about things.
Yeah.
And I had some exposure to it. So it's like, oh, not that I know what I'm doing, but I'm not surprised. And I kind of feel like, well, maybe I'll try this or maybe I'll try that. So I feel like it was more like Revenge of the Nerds.
It's unfortunate because you didn't have to do that if the parents were responsible.
What about you? Can you remember the first porn movie you ever saw?
It was, by the way, if anyone is interested in watching those old movies, but you don't have the time to watch all of them, a lot of them, I recommend Dave's Old Porn and Showtime because I worked on season 1 and 2.
Oh God, I love that show.
I was consultant on it. So you'll laugh, you get a boner, whatever. Go for it.
I love that show. You're on the show because I've not seen.
No, I was
a episode
consultant
that you were
on it.
You're a consultant.
Yeah.
You should be on the show. I saw the Rogan episodes, a bunch of episodes.
Rogan's
you should be on the
great.
show.
Maybe if you get.
Okay, so what was the first porn movie you ever saw?
The first porn movie that I saw was with Ron Jeremy, and by the way, I hope he's doing well because he had a heart attack about a month ago, and I think he might be in the hospital. Hopefully, he's out and he's taking care of himself. It was a Ron Jeremy, and it was a really goofy premise. He was not a good fucker, I guess. I don't know how else to describe him. And then he met this girl, and every time she squirted this liquid, it was so intoxicating for other women. All the other women started trying to.
Do you remember the name of it?
I wish I remember.
Oh man,
it was cool. Like every time, so he wanted to have sex with her because he could have sex with a bunch of other women. I thought that was a like clever, kind of funny premise, and I think that was like 84, 85.
And then you see Deep Throat, and Deep Throat was kind
Great
of just
movie.
weird. It's great, but it was weird to me at the time. The documentary is amazing about it, but it was weird to me at the time because it just like the whole idea of the clit downer. Yeah, it was more science fiction-y. But all those ones were like when I worked at that video store, I just lied about my age.
Yeah.
And then like, oh, like the cool thing was like I could rent porn for free. So once I got that job,
I did the same thing when I worked for
like I just was like, oh, I could take this stuff home. So, and then like, and I've talked about it on the podcast before. I don't want to repeat anything, but like too much stuff. But I worked at Hustler was like my first real job.
Yeah.
Like after I dropped out of college, I was there as a writer. I wrote comedy bits for Hustler and directed photo shoots.
So it was meant to be you doing stand up. Seriously.
Well, maybe I don't know.
You did it opposite. Most comedians become funny. Hopefully they get a TV show. You got TV show first.
I guess.
You know.
Did I? Yeah, but then Most
people
I feel
rather
like
be on TV. Let's be honest.
What I do like about being classified as a comedian is that being a comedian allows you latitude. You can produce shows. You can be in shows. You can do comedy. You can act. You can whereas being a film expert, there's not a lot more you can do for me. Film expert doing comedy is not cool, but a comedian doing acting or doing a million other things, writing is possible. There's more latitude in your career.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's get back to Projection Booth. Was it Cafe Flesh that had I remember this is the thing that actually attracted me. I'm sitting here, taking home adult films from my work. I'm under 18, so this is technically illegal. And the thing that attracted me to the box cover of Cafe Flesh was it's the Citizen Kane of adult films.
Yeah, I don't know where the real cutoff for going from film to video was, but I think it had to have been just a few years after this. I want to say like 84, 85, because I'm going to be covering the film Raw Talent in a future episode. First Raw Talent, 84, shot on film. The second Raw Talent just a few years later, I believe, and that was shot on video. And I think that was kind of the end of that golden era, was right around the middle of the 80s there.
Again, Chris pointed out, he brought up the Citizen Kane of adult. I would say Rint's Dream was kind of the Orson Welles of the adult industry. He was the one that really tried to make it more than what it was up to that point.
I completely agree. But there were other people trying to do that too. I mean, there were other people that were trying to make actual movies, and there was that sort of that period in the 70s when Deep Throat came out, where it looked as if adult films would be accepted in movie theaters just like R-rated movies. And when the MPAA created the X rating, which was short-lived because the adult film industry then just said, well, our movies are triple X. You ask people, did they know that there was the X rating? This is before NC-17. And even NC-17 movies now aren't particularly X-rated. All it does is limit your ability to distribute the movie in a whole lot of movie theater screens across the United States. I feel like the industry went kicking and screaming. There was sort of one faction that was like, no, we got to go bigger budget. Then this other faction saying, no, we got to go low budget. And it's almost as if that argument or that battle continues to today, because with the internet kind of sucking all the like gonzo and the shot on video cheap stuff and so much stuff for free on the internet, they're creating things like 3D adult films where they've got the 3D Avatar adult movie, and then you've got all the spoofs and the parodies like This Ain't Batman or Batman XXX or Star Trek XXX. There's like so many now that are the adult spoof films where it's like, okay, they're on 3 discs, and you've got the sort of R-rated cut, the XXX cut, then you've got the extras are on 1 disc. Some of these DVDs even have commentary tracks. I mean, it's incredible, like what they're trying to do to kind of keep that high budget adult film alive by targeting a certain audience that they know will buy adult films, and that geeky audience, me being a part of that geeky audience, will actually seek out a DVD and buy it because it appeals to another side of my nature other than my little head.
But doesn't it kind of tick you off that all the trailblazers like Rint's Dream and Francis DeLea and some of the people that did like Satisfiers of Alpha Blue and that they're sort of left behind and forgotten about? That
tragic story could be told in any industry. It's like people who they aspired to something bigger, but you don't know like the finances of it. It's like, I love reading geek theories on the internet about why people do certain things. And that's something I never did on Film Thread and don't do. It's like, because I realize it's all bullshit. First of all, you're just theorizing. And secondly, it usually has to do with a business or a personal decision. Someone deciding, I'd rather take care of my ailing parents and move out of the state of California for the next couple years, then try to struggle at this dream that may not be going my way. Or it could be that financially, a lot of filmmakers on movies where they want to aspire to do something big, they've got to take a business deal that may not be as good. So if you're fighting for creative freedom and creative expression, you'll sacrifice on the financial end. And you'll hardly hear a positive story of someone from the adult film world that went, oh, I made that movie and I made all this money. It's like, no, it's a freelance business. You worked for a couple days, and the distributors and the people from the production company are the ones that will make the money. And that's why you see so many people in the adult industry basically create their own production companies. Everyone from like Belladonna to you name it. They start their own company, they make their own content, and they kind of go the model of indie film and using social media to build up an audience. But I just feel like when I look at that stuff, it's like, it's always something, it's like sometimes when people ask me about Film Threat, which never made me money, it was one of those things that led to opportunities, but never made me money. It's not a sore point, but it's also something like, I don't love to talk about it all the time. So I don't know. I don't feel bad. I just feel like it's just a reality. It's almost like, in a way, it's like these are people that they dated, and it's like revisiting an ex. Okay, so that's it for this week's show. This week that's not it for this week's show. That's it for the clips from Projection Booth. But I really want to thank Mike White, Mondo Justin, Josh Hadley for having me on their show. I am so sorry it took me a year to get this episode up, but I really wanted to. I wanted to have, you know what, guys?
It's like a fine wine.
It's a fine wine. It aged well. It's also a timeless conversation because we're talking about an adult film, Night Dreams from 1981. But like. Also, it's an interesting conversation. My goal was to try and get some porn stars on this show, and I failed, and I feel terrible about that. But I really want to thank those guys. You can check out their website at projection-booth.com. You can follow them on Twitter at ProBoothCast. On Twitter, and you can find them on Facebook, Projection Booth. Mike White, one of the heroes of geek. He's a geek film legend, if you ask me. Mike White is a geek film legend, and we've since become friends after having this sort of weirdness. I think the thing is, I think we were both afraid of each other. I think we both were afraid that the other guy hated. Like I was afraid that he hated me, and I think he was afraid that I hated him. That neither of us hated each other.
That's interesting because there was one episode on What the Fuck with Mark Maron and Louis C.K. Same scenario. So they didn't talk to each other for a long time, and it was a very touching 2 episodes about Louis C.K. and Mark Maron. I highly recommend it. At this point, you probably have to pay for, but...
Oh, I've heard that one. The Louis C.K. one was great. Wasn't that a 2-parter?
Yeah, 2-parter.
It was really good.
It was really uncomfortable because they just assume, like...
The other guy hated... Yeah, that was the thing with Mike. Like, I assumed he hated me because I got him, you know, like...
He probably thought about... You thinking that about him too,
right? And then and then we just realized we're both 2 guys from Michigan, and we bonded incredibly. We, hung out at the Blue Water Film Festival in Port Huron, Michigan. We hung out there and like just completely bonded, and like we're like, oh, we're a lot alike. And his Cashier du Cinemart magazine is amazing. It's one of those ones. If you can find it. If you can find like old copies, I'm a big fan of like old zines. Like a lot of like what you see in the storage area of my place is like a lot of like zines, and I don't want to get rid of them because they're not on the internet. A lot of the stuff I'm saving,
I didn't even notice until you pointed it.
They have like videos, and like you see like in my storage area, like videos and weird stuff. Like that's not online, so I'm kind of paranoid about getting rid of it. But I really want to thank those guys and listen to their show, Projection Booth. It is the authority in geek film. They'll take like one movie or a personality, and they do the most detailed. It's incredibly nerdy. I will warn you. Like if you're like, it's extreme detail, like about the most obscure shit, which also like I fetishize over. So I want to thank them. And I want to thank you, Yoshi, for being on the show. Although we can just keep talking too. Don't you have to leave at like 7:30 to go to Beverly Hills? And Anthony's going to stick around for a little bit. Anthony, the quietest intern in the world. But Yoshi, I'm so happy I discovered.
I keep talking.
I know. I'm so happy I discovered your podcast. I'm so happy I discovered like DVD ASA. Like, and I wouldn't have discovered you unless I listened to that David Cho interview that was on Howard Stern, where like the interviews on Stern. I think he's one of the best interviewers ever.
Yeah.
Like on the planet Earth, Howard Stern is the best interviewer. And David Cho was not a name I knew. And the fact that, like, I listened to that interview like twice.
He could be incredibly difficult, but I have to say he's remarkable. And
but the David Cho sock puppet. David Cho sock puppet. Okay, no, let me tell you a story about me. Where like one time, okay, like it's a Korean thing. Like let me just say, like, okay, like all right, David Cho sock puppet, stop it. David Cho sock puppet, stop interrupting Yoshi.
You're right.
David Cho sock puppet has to stop interrupting.
But the guy's a guy really is genius, and I have to say he's doing a lot of great work up there because he's so rich now.
What's so weird about it is a guy who made his millions from Facebook who doesn't like Facebook. 100 million. Who doesn't like Facebook. He's a lot like Facebook because what I mean by this is Facebook is all about look at me. Mm-hmm. Look at me. Mm-hmm. Look at me. Let's make this all about me. And it's all like, not that I'm not absolving me of this, not saying that I don't also do this as someone who's dominated the conversation this whole time. And I'm so sorry about it. I've chode this whole podcast. This podcast has been chode. #chode. But how do you spell that? CHOEED. Anyways, CHOE''D. Although if you put in, anyways. All I'm saying
is you're
is
not rude about it. That's the thing. It was a fun show. It was just
thank you. But I like respect what David Cho represents in terms of there are different paths to success than like going
very
to college,
unorthodox, sure.
which is really like, especially in Asian culture, just having dated some Asians. Asian girls, just a couple, all right? It's not like
a couple hundred.
It's like my girlfriend will say, "You have yellow fever." It's like, no. It's very unconvincing. No. But like it's. I feel like that culture more than any, having observed friends and girlfriends and whatnot, they really have this expectations. Is what really is the killer. It's this expectation of a certain way of being treated.
Yeah.
This expectation of like you treat elders this way. You treat like expectation of this is what you have to do.
Yeah.
And Cho, like me, I'm a college dropout.
Yeah.
I dropped out of college. I read a book about business and a book about how to start a magazine. I started a magazine that I sold to Larry Flint, and I had this weird TV career that I had no plans to do, and then I started doing this podcast just to I don't care about money is not my main motivation.
Right.
It's this honesty and connecting with my audience, and I connect with other people who have that in them. The people that are my heroes, the people I really like are the ones that are like, oh, they're really honest also, because I feel like we can hang out.
Dave's very honest when it comes to his problems. And
right.
my problems.
Yeah, and yours.
What do I want to talk about now?
Yeah, he brings them up quite a bit, and that's what I love about you on the show.
It's tiresome to me because he want to help, but he need to realize some people you could yell at them, it works. I'm not one of them, so I know he's trying to help me, but yelling at me doesn't work. Especially somebody younger than me. It's just so tired. What is the classic definition of insanity? Keep doing shit over and over, expecting different result.
Right.
So I know his intentions are really good, but But the thing that you say about Asian people is true. We're very conservative, and when I say conservative, I don't mean socially conservative. We just don't like taking risk. And Dave and myself and Asakura, we're very much anti-conservative.
All three of you, actually, that's the connection, is all three of you have broken
we just don't give a fuck about what other people say.
Right. But I feel like that's that's my philosophy in life, is it's almost like a shield around you. If you cannot, because I was a nerd growing up, and I was
when it
definitely
wasn't even fashionable back then.
Right. I was bullied growing up for sure.
I believe you.
But what messed with the bullies was that it didn't bother me.
Yeah.
And it was almost like I turned it around and creeped them out, because it's like, you can't affect me.
Yeah.
You can't affect me. It's like, what? And look, I got in a couple of scrapes, me being punched and me falling to the ground.
What was her name?
Yeah, exactly. What was her name? But I feel like if you can conquer that, I feel like that's because I look at I have a lot of friends who are gay. Right. And I really feel, and just, I've had friends who were gay. We were talking about Malcolm Ingram earlier, who was Kevin Smith's bodyguard, who came out as being gay, and he's a bear, and he directed the movie Small Town Gay Bar. Big guy, different kind. He did that movie also, Bear Nation.
Yeah.
And he came out as being gay, but I feel like that, if you can create that shield of, I don't care what anyone thinks of me.
Yeah.
I'm going to go by the beat of my own drum. It's almost like a protectant in terms of, wow, it's a freedom. I can do whatever I want now. I don't care what people think of me.
Yeah.
I'm not affected by bullying. It doesn't have, that has to be ingrained. It was something I did in the raising of my kids. There were two things I wanted to make sure to do. A, that they weren't bullies. And I'm really proud. I love that the fact that they have an incredibly diverse group of friends. My son's best friend is a boy who has birth defects, and he was teased all throughout school, but that's his best friend. And if anyone teases him, he stands up to them.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, wow, my kids are not
quality.
assholes. My kids are not assholes.
Yeah.
It's a rare quality. And then, I wanted them to not be racist. I wanted them to not be judgmental. And I also wanted them to have
So you didn't want to be happy.
Right. Well, but I also wanted them to have this, I don't care what anyone thinks of me.
Yeah.
And I've seen it now that they're coming into themselves as adults. It's like, oh, good. They pick up this stuff through osmosis. I don't sit down and tell them to do this.
You do
it just sort of happened.
They learn from you, from example,
Right. Even it's weird. My daughter, what was really weird, my daughter, she rejected Barbie. Mm-hmm. Not into Barbie at all.
That's unusual.
A weird, she's a little cute blonde girl, well, she's an older, taller, blonde woman. But when she was younger, it's oh, Barbie, because that's the default thing you get a girl.
Yeah.
She was into Godzilla. She just loved Godzilla.
I wonder where she got the jeans from.
It might have been, but yeah, there were these Godzilla pajamas
Yeah.
that she never stopped. She wore them until she didn't fit in them. But it was a weird, like, I didn't tell her to watch it. She just loved. She felt for the monster. There was all this like empathy towards the monster and what the monster was going through. And like, I don't know. I'm a big fan of. I don't know. I feel like now I'm being racist by just bringing this up. We're talking about this stuff.
Yeah, it's interesting. You like Godzilla,
It's interesting.
and you like
Godzilla.
Asian women.
Yeah, this all comes out. Like, yeah, we have a yellow sock puppet of David Cho on our show as a guest, as a special. Bro, I'm not, like, you should.
Would you stop?
Anyways, no, but like, yeah, that was my goal, and I feel like I've done that. I'm not going to say I'm successful, because then I would feel like I was bragging, which is not a trait that anyone from the Midwest wants to do.
Because one of the conversations I have on DVD ASA and like in the one podcast we did that before with Dave was KGB, Koreans Gone Bad, and
I heard about that podcast and I have not. Is it still around? Like,
you could still download it and stuff like that.
So it's just archived.
Yeah,
right.
And I have a lot of disagreeing with Dave, but one thing he agreed with me is like I really think happiness is overrated because.
I kind of agree with him. On this.
Oh, that's my position on it too.
Yeah, like I think happiness, like I just want someone to be happy. It's like, that's too easy because you can be happy just sitting in your own, whatever, throwing feces at the wall. Like, no, that's not enough. There's got to be more. There's got to be a statement, I think, made about what we're doing
What I
here.
like is being content. And even though I haven't had like a regular job for like a year, I'm really having fun time doing podcasts and meeting different kinds of people, Like, I met some really interesting people. Like, we interviewed Andy Milanakis. I don't know if I'm saying his last name.
Milanakis, yeah.
Yeah. I just had, like, one idea of what he was from his shows. But once I get to know him, and, like, I didn't even talk about the same shit that he's been asked. So I asked about his background and his family. And, like, it was a really... Once you get to know people, it's really fun. I didn't even have to like the guy. It's just... If they're being honest with me and I'm hearing where they're coming from, that's the kind of conversation I like, So, if people don't want to listen to our podcast, that's not a problem. But I highly recommend, especially if you're Asian American, read up on David Cho, Asakura, and we had this guest on DVD ASA recently. I don't think I'm pronouncing his last name right, but his name's Eddie Wang. Mm-hmm. He wrote this book called Fresh Out of Boat. It's his cooking and family history about his Taiwanese family. And he's like baby David Cho. He's Chinese, 30 years old, graduate from law school, but he started a restaurant business. He traveled all over the world interviewing people about food and things like that. It's on Vice. It's fascinating. I was really fascinated by this kid. He's really, really funny. And I like whenever I meet people like that, it really gives me hope because I want Asian American not to just do the typical traditional stuff like become doctors and lawyers. Take a chance, do things that you really, really want to do, And I think since I'm the crazy one, like the bad cop, I'm the crazy one.
Right.
Like most other Asian kids probably say like, hey, no matter how much problem I have, I'm not as crazy as Yoshi. And they could look up to someone like Dave Cho and say, you could pursue in art and be content with it.
Also, how lucky that you got the name Yoshi.
Yeah.
That's the cool. I mean, like chicks love that name. Because Yoshi is so cute.
But the problem is they're usually 10 years or younger.
Oh, no. Well, hey, I want to thank my PodCRASH listeners for dropping in to listen to this episode of PodCRASH, episode 69.
Perfect.
Projection Booth with special guests Yoshi Obayashi, Anthony Bench, our amazing intern, and check out PodCRASH. You can follow me at that Chris Gore. You can follow the show at PodCRASH Show. You can like us on Facebook, facebook.com/PodCRASH, and go to iTunes. Give us a 5-star review. Give us a 5-star review if you think we deserve it, but at least post a review. I will read the reviews here on PodCRASH.
For my Yoshi didn't.
And Yoshi didn't. Yeah, wait. We gotta get. And we're Anthony. You're on Twitter. What are you on Twitter?
At This Game Cheats.
At This Game Cheats. And Yoshi, people have to find out there's DVD ASA, the podcast, which is the must listen to. It is the must listen to podcast. There's Yoshi Didn't, which I've downloaded all the episodes with your co-host Lilith.
And Lilith is my friend, and she's got a master's degree in clinical psychology and addiction. So she's very good, and very funny, Armenian girl. And our old KGB, Korean Gone Bad with David Cho and myself.
And then your Twitter is...
Twitter.com/Yoshi Obayashi.
Which is spelled
YOSHIOBAYASHI.
And you have the best media on your tweets. When I look at your tweet media, you're like, you've got these videos and these pictures.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
incredible. Really amazing stuff.
I'm a pervert.
You know what? That the thing is this. I feel like we're all perverts in some way.
Mm-hmm.
It's what degree are we willing, are we hiding it? And then
No.
I think
There's no need for that.
Well, yeah, there's no, but also like, I feel like if you're intimate with someone in your life, you shouldn't hide the pervy side of yourself. I feel like that should be a part. Otherwise, I feel like that's what creates problems is guys that hide that. If you're hiding that side of yourself, it's like, that's the side of yourself that's the most intimate. That's the side of yourself that you should be sharing with the person that you put your penis inside, man and or woman and or transgender and or prostitute and or not the kids. But Yoshi, I want to thank you for being on the show.
Thanks for putting me on the show.
I want to have you. Oh, thank you. I want to have you back on the show. And we should be doing stand up together. I don't know how they'll handle a white guy though. I don't think I'd do the rooms that you could do.
No,
you can do the rooms. You come out like you told the story about how you did a room where it was an all black audience and you came out and you freaking killed. What was that? I forget. It was I forget the story, but like you killed. I don't think they would like me. I'm not sure that they would like me.
Well, with that attitude, of course they don't.
Yes, exactly. With the attitude of you're not going to like
black audience, you just got to go with a swagger. Like,
really?
Not be a dick about it. Like, look, I know who I am. This is the stuff I think is funny. And if they sense that, they will at least give you a chance.
Right.
And give them the best jokes you have. And if it doesn't work out, there's always next time. You have to have when you have a bad show as a comic, you have to have a short memory like my dick. That's why you can prepare yourself next time. But it's one of the toughest things up there, and I don't care what people say. It's easy for them to say, you suck, and you know what? You come up here and try to do it.
Wow. Well, Yoshi, thank you for being on the show.
Thanks
Anthony,
for being on the show.
Thank you for hanging out while we're doing the show. And listeners of PodCRASH, thank you for sticking with our, I think this will technically be our longest episode ever. It could be over. Hands down, longest episode ever.
Most complained.
Yeah. And you know what? I'm going to, Yoshi, if you wouldn't mind doing the honor of saying the final words we always say on this show.
Let's get out of here. Is that it? Sorry.
Ultraman, here he comes from the sky. Ultraman, watch our hero fly. In a super jet he comes from a billion miles away, from a distant planet land. Comes our hero,
Oh, sorry. Cafe Fletch Clips.
No.
Oh, let's get out of here. You're still listening to this?
That's it.
Okay.
That's it. Just say, let's get out of here really loud.
Let's get out of here. Let's get out of here. Sayonara.
Good evening, mutants and mutettes, and welcome to Cafe Flesh.
God, I only wish that looked so good.
Lana, I can't take this. I gotta have it.
Post-new thrill freaks, palsies. We're all strung out. Okay, Nikki, let's go.
Leaving so soon, friend? Feeling a little queasy?
Not tonight, Mr. Joy. I'm not in the mood.
Oh, I'm sorry. Show was a little too good. Was it too much? Couldn't quite handle it?
Good night, Mr. Joy.
See you tomorrow, friend.
Okay, now wait, I have one more thing. Hey, if you're still listening to this, you're probably a lot like me. You have an extensive Excuse me. Hey. Hey, if you're still listening to this, you're probably a lot like me. You're the kind of person who has an extensive porn collection, possibly from a European DVD company. And if you do, then I like you, and we're a lot alike. And for that, you shall be rewarded. Send a self-addressed stamped envelope to PodCRASH with that Chris Gore, 5042 Wilshire Boulevard, PMB 1500, Los Angeles, California, 90036. You'll receive the PodCRASH Fan Club Kit. It's absolutely free. It's absolutely free with a self-addressed stamped envelope. Later. There was one more thing I want to get in.
Sorry for fucking that part up.
You didn't fuck it up at all. It was perfect. One last thing. Hey, folks, I want to tell you about our next live show, which is Saturday, March 30th at 7:30 p.m. at WonderCon, which will be at the Anaheim Convention Center in Anaheim, California. Adrian Curry is my special guest. It's going to be incredible. Adrian Curry, you know from the world of geekdom. You know her as the first America's Next Top Model, and she is going to be participating in the greatest live episode of PodCRASH ever, which will be at WonderCon. Be there 7:30 p.m. on Saturday, March 30th. In addition, Adrian, and she doesn't even know about this, she's going to be performing Star Wars Episode 7, The Phantom Hope, with my friends, my fellow improv comedians at Comic Book Live, which is Patrick Ian Moore, Tommy Bechtold, Brandon Barrick, Zach Huddleston, Cannon Wing, Kia McCarty, the whole gang is going to be there. Dustin Sterling, all those great comics. We're going to be performing Star Wars Episode 7. So please come to Anaheim. You can also see it streaming live. If you cannot get to Anaheim, you can see it streaming live online. Go to youtube.com/PodCRASH.TV. There's a Google Hangout. We're going to stream it live on Saturday, March 30th. You can ask questions. I will be asking Adrian questions from our Google Hangout audience. So Anthony, you're going to be handling that, and you're going to be taking the questions from the people on the internet, and we're going to be talking to Adrian Curry and our very special guest. Don't miss it. You can get more info at facebook.com/PodCRASH. Now, that's the end of the show.